Let's see if this is working. Oh, yeah, appears to be working. Cool. Not signed into chat though. That's not cool. Let me fix that. I don't know what the password was. Yes, that's me. Okay. Chat seems to be working, so that's cool. Okay, I think that's working. Oh, stream quality is quite bad. Why is that? What's the delay on this, I wonder? Let's see. Okay, I think that's working. Oh, it's a big delay. Oh, stream quality is quite bad. Why is that? Damn. What's the delay on this, I wonder? Let's see. Oh, it's a big delay. Stream quality is quite bad. Why is that? Damn. Okay, well, at the very least, everything appears to be working, so that's good. Okay, well, at the very least, everything appears to be working. So that's good. All right. Yo, yo! Not sure what the delay is, so I'll be talking now, but not sure. I think it's like 10 seconds or worse. Yeah, I'm doing a live stream test right now. Yeah, I got the cat cam up. Unfortunately, he is sitting next to me right now, so it's not cat camming. Let's see, hold on. Found out a way I can sort of show. I need to get another secondary phone stand if I was gonna like permanently do this, but let's see. I probably just need to buy another one of those cameras. That would be the easiest thing to do. But I did, let's see. I did set up this. Let's see if I can add it to OBS. Add window capture. I need to grab Chrome from here. I think this works. Yeah. So there he is, Mr. Cat over there. He's not currently on his post in the window. He does spend quite a lot of time there, but yeah, not right now, unfortunately. Okay, cool. So I do have that going on. Let's see if I can get rid of this. But leave Fusion. So I was gonna grab another hockey player phone stand and print it. It looks like they already have, let's see, there's the browser mode. They already have a nice one already made, so no reason to go through the trouble of making something that already exists. So I'm just downloading a copy of that. And then I don't think I made a, which I guess I'll do that now. This will be my Creality window. I need to make a window that has another capture source. I need to capture my actual Creality window, I think. Sweet, so that's that whole window where I'm grabbing the printer cam from. And I just need this to be, how do you move it all the way to the bottom? Control end, I guess I could just do it here though too. So I don't need, this one doesn't need Fusion 360, I just want this. So I can switch from this scene to this scene, that way when I go into the actual slicer, I can, you know, show what I'm doing there as well. Let's see, let me grab this and unzip it first. Okay, cool. So now I have the actual file dropped into here. So this is what I'm going to be using to slice. This is just Creality Slicer. It's the same brand as my printer. This is quite big though, so I think it might take a little too long to print. I've been messing around with the print settings. If I leave it to the standard Creality settings, the travel speed is like insanely fast. My cat's name is Tayo. It's a Japanese name. I am technically a little bit Japanese, so that's where that comes from. It means the sun, like the actual sun, but kind of a pun because, you know, cat baby. But that's where his name comes from. But yeah, for the travel settings, it's like super loud. It goes at its top speed to make the printer seem really good, and so it does. It is really good and really fast. In fact, if we slice with the default layer height, you'll see that it wants to tell you, you know, how long this thing will print for, about 54 minutes, which is pretty quick, you know. If we go to my slower settings, it'll actually print quite a bit slower. Let's see how much. So 1 hour and 21 minutes. So, you know, definitely increasing print time, but it reduces wear and tear on the printer, as well as reduces like all like the kind of jostling and how much noise it makes in general. I'm gonna double check. I haven't printed this particular file in a second. I don't remember what settings it has. It looks like it's about 30 millimeters thick by 100 millimeters tall. So I do have a little set of calipers right here. I'm not a big millimeter guy. I mean, that's America, right? But 100 millimeters gets you to about there. That's going to be how tall the hockey player is. And then we're saying 30 millimeters thick, so it's, I mean, quite thick. I don't know that it needs to be that thick. It seems unnecessarily so. I mean, obviously you can't print it super thin, like 10 millimeters. That would be pretty much impossible to, there we go, a little bit camera retarded there. 10 millimeters would be a little bit too thin, I think. 30 is overkill. I think 15, 20. 20 seems like a decent amount. 15 seems like it probably would still work as well. I'm just going to go with 15. So I'm going to change the actual size in the Z dimension, that's the up and down, to 15 on this. But I don't want uniform scale, actually. So let me undo that, and then I'll just change the Z height to 15. So even with my slower printer settings, that should cut down on some of the print time. See, that's already 44 minutes. That's back down to how long the faster printing settings would have taken. In fact, let's just look. Out of curiosity, 30 minutes with the faster print settings. I still think that's thick enough to hold a phone. I mean, you know, but I will leave it on the slower settings for all the aforementioned reasons, wear and tear, noise, all that. Still quite long, 44 minutes, so it won't be printed for quite some time. But I already do, oh, and I notice it's my print cam. I didn't even think about that, but when I change scenes here, it's duping it and kind of moving it around, but oh well. So I'm going to start this, and then I'll move back to the device window so it shows the proper print cam again. But it's telling me 44 minutes. I already have the blue loaded. This was a request, one of my coworkers. I made them a black one, and they wanted a blue one, so I'm doing that. Let me start that print, so it'll start getting all warmed up and whatnot. It's sending right now. I don't know why it's not tabbing over. I'm still on the preview screen, even though I'm not on that screen. There's like an additional pop-up. I guess because I'm not recording my whole window, I'm only recording the Creality screen. It doesn't show pop-ups, but it just has a little pop-up, probably for the best because it shows my IP as well. But whatever. So it's sending that. Send complete. Going to the new window. You can see all my previous prints of various crap. But there we go. Print cam is back online. So I can switch this back to 3D. Print cam should stay there. It'll do its little calibration process. By default, it seems like it has some sort of, it's a Creality brand printer. It has some sort of minor calibration process. I think you might even hear it in the background. It does every time anyway. You can turn off the additional calibration mode and it'll not do the extra stuff, but it's still quite long. I suppose it might just be filling time because it has to, you know, it has to warm up anyway, so maybe it's just killing time. I don't know. So I got that going. That's when I wanted to get started because it's going to take, like I said, another 40 minutes. I was going to figure out, and I'm not quite sure yet how to, but I want to go ahead. I think it's just with my device audio settings. Power on says this is like a hockey player. Yes. So it's just the silhouette of a hockey player, and it's going to be a phone stand basically. Yeah. So someone already made these. I printed this like, gosh, I think maybe 7 years ago when I first had a 3D printer. I think I downloaded it from Thingiverse. They have a ton of great free available prints people share that they've made. And so it just kind of saves you the trouble. But yeah, they did that already, did all the work. And so I just happen to remember it since my coworker is still using it. They like it quite a lot. I'm just printing them a new one in a different color. Yeah, that's what's going on there. It takes quite a while, 45, 50 minutes. So I figured, well, might as well get it started. My little print cam disappeared. Oh no, what happened? Oh, I see. It doesn't like it when I... if I minimize it, it doesn't like that. I have to bring it back up, and then I guess if I want to be over on top of it, I can. I have to bring a window on top of it, so the more you know. Sorry about that. Got a couple messages there. Yeah, I was trying to figure out, I want to play some music in the background without you hearing an echo on it, so I'll have to test that. I'm not sure quite how that's going to work. I imagine, let's see, if I have my actual speaker turned down but the settings turned on, it's playing quite loudly, so let me turn it down significantly. So you'll hear this twice. Let me mute this. Alright, so I'm going to mute the mic for a second as I'm testing this. I just want to figure out how loudly the audio in the background. Okay, sorry about that. So I have all the audio turned down in the background. Let me only put one earphone in so I can still listen to you guys. Alright, so I have the audio playing right now for you guys. Theoretically, I have the mic going. I can't hear it, but I'm listening to my own stream. Quite a lot of a delay, so I'm still waiting for that to catch up. Testing, 1, 2, 3. So I seem to go up to -10, so I guess I'd want the volume to be at least, what, a quarter of that? So maybe something like that. I probably need to test this in the recording mode rather than the streaming mode since there's all these little delays here. Okay, I'll just continue listening to myself in the stream in the background as that goes on. But that should be playing royalty-free music for me to use in the meantime. That's cool. Alright, cool. That's pretty cool. A little bit of a delay on this guy, but you can see the printer in the background working at printing that hockey player. Actually, that's very suspicious. That doesn't look like a hockey player. Hold on a second. Let's see. See, I've had this bug now a couple times on the Creality printer. Okay, so I'm done watching my own stream. It's super delayed, so it's kind of hard to pay attention. But yeah, no, that's interesting. That's definitely not my my little hockey guy, is it? So it still seems to be trying to print this lawn chair I printed earlier. This is a little test lawn chair I found on printables.com. It looked kind of fun, but when I printed it with supports, it was kind of impossible to remove the supports. I guess probably at the scale I printed at. I am very guilty of not wanting things to print for very long, so I left it printing at about 50% height, and when it finished, no, you would totally snap the, I did snap the legs off as I removed supports. So that's not good. Let me, I guess we'll do a little real-time test of me going over there then, won't we? So I'm stopping that print. You'll probably see me in the cat cam temporarily because I have to navigate to the printer. Yeah, be right back, I guess. Goodness. Usually, I think last time I had to actually kill the Creality software. Be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. No music on that side. Hopefully that is delayed. There should be audio coming through now. I guess we'll see as we continue to go through here. It's not very loud music. Let me try turning it up a little bit. I thought I was hearing it on my own stream, but let me go back and listen now. I'm not sure. Let me mute myself again real quick.
Your daydream into your dream job. Your talent into a movement. From taking the first step to seeing it all come together, you can do it yourself.
I wonder if the audio might be being overshadowed by my camera. Let me make sure I have that audio muted. I certainly thought I did. Let me do that though. So now I'm disabling the audio from my cat cam. Hopefully that cuts out that sound. I just noticed the printer in the background. So that's interesting. Desktop audio is definitely saying it's picking up something now, so hopefully with that additional printer sound from the camera turned off. Let me pause the music. That pauses desktop audio, restart it, and that starts it again. So it's quite what is it, -40 to -35. I'm routinely going above about -15, so I'm sure that's probably part of it. Let's see how that goes. Seems like I have quite a lot of dropped frames. I don't know why. My internet connection's not very good today, or maybe the too much stuff going on. I'm really not sure, but I'll let the music keep playing. Hopefully that'll come through soon. And then let me troubleshoot this little printer here. I'm going to actually clear this out. So print cam will disappear, I think, for a little bit, but we'll restart that. I don't know if it'll automatically find itself again, or if I have to redo the capture software. Let's see. Yeah, I've noticed this. I don't know if it's like a pretty consistent bug, but if you print something and then sometimes it'll just decide, oh no, it does find itself again. That's nice. And then print cam, I probably need to reconnect back to that. Let's see here. Devices, details. Okay. So there's print cam again. That's good. Let me put that back where it belongs. Print cam is back up and running. And I still see it's talking about the lawn chair print, which is a bit annoying. Let me go back to the Creality window. So that's a bit obnoxious. So pardon me real quick while I switch windows. Let me drag that hockey player back in, swap you guys back in, and got my Z scale, uniform scale turned off. I'm going to set that just down to 15, I think we decided. Go back to my slower travel settings once again. Reslice this one more time. And then we should be able to send this off to print. Start print.
Memory loss and mental decline.
Boom.
So if you or a loved one is often forgetting things or suffering with brain fog, then you must see this. After 30.
All right, so that's good. So I have it uploading right now. So pardon the print cam's weird setting in the meantime. I guess I don't know how to capture only the video feed from the camera. I probably need to get that figured out so it doesn't keep doing that when I'm doing other things. Oh, I see cat cam exclamation, and I do hear music. Hopefully it was the printer thing that was messing it up, so let me know if the music seems too loud or not loud enough even, I guess. Still trying to figure this whole streaming thing out.
$1 billion secret he wasn't supposed to know, because it led to a clinically proven 30-second bedtime technique that can destroy the brain rot while you sleep.
A lot of troubleshooting. Like I said, this isn't a real stream. This is kind of like a test stream, basically.
Tap the Watch Now button below for a free video. You'll see exactly how this powerful method takes only a few seconds a day and gets to work to sharpen your mind and memory almost instantly. This simple method reverses the brain rot before it can break any more networks, which helps energize brain cells, clear fogs, and most importantly, eliminates all signs of memory loss or dementia, all without the need for medications and their side effects or expensive therapies. More than 45,670 people are already.
I'm turning up the music a little bit. I'm not sure at all what level I should be keeping it at, so
against diseases like dementia and Alzheimer's. So stop what you're doing.
maybe I'll turn my mic down just a little bit as well.
Below to watch Dr. Walter's short, free.
All right, we'll try that out. I think maybe my mic might be just a tad too loud anyway. Let's see. So testing. Is that better? Is that worse? Is it any different at all?
That the greedy executives within the healthcare establishment are pushing
see.
to
I can
bury
always
this memory-saving technique.
turn
and
it down
protect their absurd
more or less
profits.
again.
So while it is still available, hit the button and start
Yeah,
using
because I
this
got the
technique to
desktop
restore and
audio.
protect your precious memories
I
from
have
vanishing.
my
This video
other
may not
audio
be available
there.
for long, as Big Pharma files a new application every day to get it taken down.
Okay, so
See
we'll
it
leave
now
that
on
for
Star
now. There's a bit of a
Online.
delay. I'm trying to troubleshoot it back and forth, but it's kind of tough because I'll do it and then it takes quite a while to actually come back in and start working again. Yeah, right now it seems like it might be good. Don't mind the ads that pop up periodically. I'm not signed into my proper account to skip the ads on this particular one, but okay, cool. So, like I said, it's a bit of an impromptu stream, so I'm just testing everything. Just barely got the green screen, this light. This is my first stream. I think I've streamed once before on Twitch, but it was like a no cam stream. I think I just had a mic and I was just talking as I was playing like a Suika clone, I think. I'm not really sure actually. But yeah, yeah, that appears to be working now. Yeah, printer actually seems to be recognizing it's printing a hockey player. Excuse me. So that's good. Hopefully we'll see the silhouette come through soon. It's going to be a while though. It's about 50 minutes for that thing to print. So in the meantime, let me go ahead and turn a couple more things on. Okay. I guess this is why a lot of creators I see streaming usually have headphones on, so they can probably listen to the music or whatever is going on with everyone else. I don't know if me putting on the headphones does anything to change anything else, but okay, yeah, the printer's going, I'm going, cat cam is still not going because my cat's right next to me, but there is a lovely cat cam. I don't know if you can see that beautiful tower. Ignore the reflectix in the background. I was trying to keep out this god-awful heat last summer. It worked a little bit, not super good, but it worked a little bit, and I kind of was taking what I could get. This apartment's pretty old, so it does not stay very cool. The AC was just struggling. Yeah, I got a lovely cat tower my parents gifted to me. It was in dire need for replacement. A lovely little table there as well. And I got this not too long ago. He was just sitting in a cat tower right where the table is, kind of a smaller one. And I basically moved that thing off to the side, got the table. So he kind of had a nicer ledge to sit on. And then the parents gifted me the new cat tower, which is fantastic. He already loves that. And then that's just some wheatgrass. I just ordered that all on Amazon. Super easy to grow, by the way, if you guys aren't familiar with wheatgrass. But basically, you just soak the seeds 4 to 24 hours, just depends. I didn't soak them at all the first time. They still grew, so whatever. They say not to bury them, but I buried them because I didn't know, didn't look into it at all. Kind of silly of me. But they still grew just fine, so I had those 3 from the original batch. They're still alive. I mean, I just water them periodically. And then the smaller little dinky guys there, I just started them very recently. But I'm getting notes in the background, helping troubleshoot the audio. I'm just trying to pay attention. But yeah, no, it seems pretty forgiving. Like, I don't have a green thumb or anything. I don't grow houseplants typically, but yeah, the wheatgrass seems to start off kind of sparse and crappy looking, and then once it gets to a certain age and height, I guess the seeds actually split. So instead of 1 blade of grass, you end up with 2. It actually sends up additional shoots, or it splits, something to that effect, and it gets a lot more lush looking. Supposedly it lasts for about a month. I guess we'll see. When it gets kind of yellow and starts dying, I'll, toss it out. But that's why I started the new batch, because my cat really likes the cat grass. So I wanted him to always have, something to chew on after this other stuff kind of died out. But yeah, that's what's going on there. Sorry for the tangent. I don't necessarily know what I want to design next. I know my dad was talking about possibly some sort of phone stand that could amplify audio. To be honest, I feel like I've seen something similar already. And, it's kind of one of those things, we're all a bit lazy, so it's like if someone's already gone through the trouble of making something, you don't necessarily want to do it yourself for no particular reason. But, let's see. I don't know what you would call that, like a phone horn or something like that, maybe? Phone horn or phone stand for audio amplification. But yeah, I would not be surprised at all if people already had something very similar, so you can kind of steal their, not steal, I mean, they're sharing it, they want you to use it, but it's just nice not having to start from scratch. There's quite a lot of ideas already. Basic concept seems to be a box you slide your phone into, and then a horn that sort of, captures the audio and broadcasts it out. So a lot of already good ideas on here. I'm trying to see which one. Honestly, this one doesn't look the best, but it has the most heart, so you certainly think it might be the best. This is Galaxy 5 specific, apparently. That's a bit odd. This looks like it might be the winner here. I mean, if I don't end up using this one exactly, maybe I can at least use it as inspiration. Looks like he was very nice to give the actual dimensions as well. It's for an iPhone. I don't know. 76 millimeter. I don't know if that's. I just have a Google Pixel 9. I don't know if that's the normal dimension. I mean, mine's 76.1. I do have a case on it as well, so that's probably part of it. But yeah, by 11.1. So yeah, it does. It probably would fit this, my Pixel, maybe without the case, perhaps. But the good thing is you can always print these sorts of things larger. You can always make your own remixes, or just, borrowing from the concept. So I might design something like this, but I'd like to think about it just a bit more. I'm not sure quite how I want to do it yet. Let me switch back over to the 3D window. I've been designing quite a lot of just weird things here and there. One thing that I was really having a lot of fun with recently, I put out a couple YouTube videos on this, was this guy. We changed the view a bit. This is like the, tinker view, but honestly you're better off with without the see-through lines, I found. This is my most recent iteration of, I actually don't have one on hand, funny enough. I keep giving them away to my dad. I want to show him, so I bring them over, and then I want to gift him the the latest and greatest. I actually don't have one handy, funny enough. I do have a non-working shell. Oops, there's the camera. I do have a non-working shell. It's just this particular one, older model, is just a clamshell design, no screws or anything. And this thing, quite literally, if you really make it, just pops together like that. Kind of hard to see because it's all white. The camera doesn't seem to like picking that up.
On the YouTube music
Looks
app,
healthy.
you can plug your
Yeah,
favorite
it is.
songs
It is supposed to be healthy. I mean, they call it catgrass, but catgrass is just wheatgrass. He does like it quite a lot. I mean, it's good for the cat. I'm sure it's good for me too. But I mean, have you seen wheatgrass? Like, no. Let's just go look it up real quick, right? It looks pretty foul. Wheatgrass shots. So let me switch back to the browser here. So I mean, this is a very common thing people do. I'm sure, but my goodness, does that look appetizing to you? Doesn't look appetizing to me. Need a Tayo cam? Yeah, I mean, I thought he'd be sitting in the window. He spends a ton of time either in his cat tower or his little ledge there, but he does spend quite a lot of time over here as well. I probably need to buy a second camera and maybe just kind of a shorter stand. Maybe I could print a phone stand, a shorter one or something, and if I get it hooked up, I could probably put it right here and just film him sitting on the couch as well. Second cat cam, and then I can switch between the two. Just for funsies. He's usually in one of those two places. Sometimes he's somewhere else, but I don't live in a gigantic apartment, so there's only so many places he can be. But yeah, look at this. This is wheatgrass. I mean, people do drink it, but bleh, like, healthy or not, like, no thanks, man. Yeah, so sorry, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, this is my little gun I created, the Paperbellum, Parabellum. It's a play on words from the 9x19 Parabellum Luger round for just a regular 9mm gun. There's quite a lot of moving pieces to this. Well, moving pieces, quite a lot of parts to this one. I wouldn't say moving pieces necessarily. A lot of it's pretty unnecessary, so you can see that there's the little accent pieces like that button, there's that top accent, let's see. I tried to name them all, but their order's a bit screwy. There's the grip. I mean, for the most part, it is the same kind of basic shell. I mean, it's really the same thing. I've just extended the barrel a little bit. I've kind of changed the dimensions to make it slightly beefier, but it's basically the same gun with screw holes. Now these are 3D printed screw holes, as you might see here. I do have a bunch of M series screws. So like I have the, I think what, M2.5 was a specialty when I bought, but M3 through M6 maybe, which are all very small. I mean 6 millimeters even, right? It's I can show you. It's not very big, right? You're talking about a very itty bitty amount. If you're talking for scale, do I have something for scale? Not really. I guess I have this Jerry Rig Anything box cutter handy. But if you're talking about but 6 millimeters for scale, it's just like, you know, barely even the tip of a blade. Basically, it's not much. So they're pretty small. So I could have used something like that. I don't really know why I didn't necessarily. I guess because I just wanted the color accent. I guess I could have made caps or something like that, but it seemed fun just to make your own screw. And 3D printed screws do work actually pretty well. The only like little catches, so if we went into a new file real quick, right? Like if you're gonna do a 3D printed screw or bolt attachment for anything, let's just say I made something 20 millimeters, we could go in, we could extrude this by another 20, so you have a little cylinder here. There's a couple ways to do it, but I'm just going to do it this way. If you do a, let's say 10 millimeter hole, and we'll extrude this down to punch a hole out, so now you have a, you know, a very stubby straw. But if you go in and you create threads for this, it'll make a 10 millimeter hole. You do want to make sure you model them. There's a setting you can change on there to make sure it's modeled. But this is currently sitting at a 10 millimeter hole, but if you went, for instance, and let's just say I'll use that existing sketch plane I just made, I will toggle off this body temporarily, and I will reuse this to make a bolt on a new body. This is another 10 millimeter wide by 10 millimeter wide but 20 millimeter tall bolt. I just used the same original sketching plane to make that. But if you went in here and you created the threads on here, it would tell you it was going to make an M10, and indeed that is an M10 thread. And in fact, you can see it a little bit better if you go in and you do a, let's see, section analysis on one of the planes. You can go through and you can actually see, if we were to just, this thing's 20 millimeters, just like the cylinder I've made, so you can move it down 20, check it from the back view. You can see that it does for the more or less fit, but obviously it's, you know, not exact here. We'll have to scooch it down a bit to fit into place. It's not exactly on 20. It would be like a few half millimeters or whatever off, depending on. It just gets a bit complicated with the threads, how it twists in. It doesn't fit one to one. But one thing I found that can be extremely helpful to give yourself a little bit of additional tolerance is actually if you go in here. And there's something called plane offset. And so you go in here, there's a feature called offset face. And I will go and I will offset the face of this. I found for dimensional tolerance on my printer at the speeds I'm printing at, 0.2 seems pretty good. So what I would do is a negative 0.1 from the top. I would do another offset from the bottom section. It's all one plane that spirals around. Another negative 0.1. And then it actually makes it a bit hard to see that face. So maybe I'll do that one first. But same concept. Let me just start here. So negative 0.2. And then we'll go in here. We'll offset the face at the top by negative 0.1. The bottom by negative 0.1. Total of 0.2, of course, just from the top and the bottom to keep it symmetrical. Otherwise, you're kind of shifting the whole dimension of the screw where like the axis starts at. So we're just making everything a bit more tolerant. That way it fits a bit more loosely. I say loosely, but it's actually still fairly tight. This is about as tight as you're going to get for 3D prints. But then you can see there's quite a lot more tolerance in between this pitch pattern now. And so if I go in, I can actually show you. I do have, I made this. This I do actually still have. This is a very simple phone stand. I can actually show you, one second, the thing it actually slots into. Alright. So before I went out and I say went out, before I Amazoned in a new phone stand, I had this thing from, oh boy, age is really starting to creep in, huh? I think that this is older than 10 years. I'm trying to do the math in my head. I think this could be 15 years old, to be honest with you. This could very easily be 15 years old. I just had this forever. It was for an old DSLR camera. Jesus Christ, that sounds terrible to say. 15 years. Like, that's insane. Like, God, that's that's really, really bad. It makes me feel terrible. I'm sure people can relate. But so it already has this attachment piece in it, this very dusty attachment piece, and in the back, it has this little latch design. You pull it out, and this little base plate comes out. So I took the measurements from this base plate. You might see a very similar dimension, excuse me, here, and I just modeled that into place, and boom, right? So that now fits into this. That's the beauty of 3D printing. You can make something from 15 years ago, Jesus, 15 years ago, and you can print a new part for it. And this holds a phone. That's exactly what I made it for. That's exactly what it does. Could it be made better? Absolutely. Does it work as it is now? Absolutely. Oh wow, I just somehow turned on my Google Wallet like I was going to pay for something. I don't know how that's such an easy button to press, but it is. And yeah, so the fit's a little bit loose on the base there. I could have made it a little bit tighter, but you know, it does the job certainly. So now I have my little phone there. I have my little phone there. It's getting stuck on my shirt. And you know, right? Little nice filming tripod. So I was using this initially, to do my filming type stuff that I might need for videos or whatever, and then I went on Amazon and bought a $20 expandable one that pinches it, and it works great, and it's a lot more slender and takes up less space, so more portable. That's actually what's holding the Cat Cam right now. The Cat Cam is just a TP-Link Tapo webcam. I was using it for like indoor monitoring, just like a security camera for outside, but inside. Got one outside, but I got one inside as well. And that's what I was using it for, but now it's being used as a Cat Cam on my new phone stand. But yeah, so that's what this little guy I 3D printed for. I'm trying to struggle to remember what point I was making because I love tangents so desperately. It was something to do with threads, that's what it was. So basically, this concept works on 3D printed threads. What's the largest piece you've made yet? So I actually, gosh, that's a good question. I do have a sample on hand. Largest in one dimension, I suppose. So this is, I made a video on this as well, but this is a little, I'd like to focus on yellow either, huh? Oh gosh, it doesn't like yellow. It really doesn't. Hold on. Hold please. Let me make a duplicate, good lord, duplicate capture of my camera. Hold on 1 second, please. So I'll turn off myself, and then I'll do another video capture device on me.
So I make healthy choices and take a
And can I do a second one, or do I have to deactivate myself probably here first? Yeah, I think that's probably what the case is. So I deactivate here, and then I'll configure here maybe. Does it work that way, or does it not work that way? No, oh, it does. Okay, I just had to, I didn't want to redo the chroma key settings. I got a giant green screen in the background. Will your live videos be available to watch later? Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna level with you. I've never done this before. I think they will be available. I don't know. I'm not deleting them. They'll be up, so theoretically they will be. Rattle, rattle. It's a nice sound. Green screen. Green screen, yellow, too close, won't film. So I turned that off. I just didn't want to redo the chroma key settings, and so That's why I just made a duplicate video source on OBS, and no one cares about this. So this is, I don't know why I want to hold stuff over here to film it, but I'm literally looking at the camera. But this is the largest, quote unquote, largest thing I've made, and it's just a little expandable baton. It's in yellow. I just happened to have yellow loaded at the time, and I wanted to print another fun color, but I don't have the handle piece on it. I made one of these for my dad, one for my mom, just like a fun little thing. It has an additional, I have one here, but it has an additional little hand piece here. Different color. I made one for my dad in blue, one for my mom in red, but it's a little handle piece, a little oval. Just makes the grip a bit nicer, but you can actually hold it reasonably well this way. It's not bad. But it's just a little collapsible baton, and what I like about this, because you said what's the largest print I made, and I went off on a huge tangent about green screens. What I like is this toy. About this is printing larger just takes way more time. Shocker, I know, but it's like exponentially more time. If you make something a little bigger, it takes quite a lot longer to print, and so I'm impatient, I guess. There's only so much time in a day when I'm actually home. Oh, look, Amazon. Nice. We got some more crap being delivered outside. I don't know if you can hear them. Tong, 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 tong. I'm upstairs, so. Yeah, it takes a lot more time to print longer things. Well, kind of a way around that, I found is printing smaller in a way that can be, well, I mean, obviously extended is one method of doing that, but also so is threading. So these are actually little threadable rods, right? So these all thread into one another. It breaks down into little, you can take this middle one off too, into little 20 millimeter segments. And so you wouldn't think it would matter, but it really does. So when you print a lot taller, there's first of all a larger chance of failure on the print itself. As things go up, it just, you're increasing the fulcrum, right? It makes sense from, like, if you think of it as a lever. If you try to use something from farther away, if you lever it, if you have more leverage on it, it doesn't take as much to make a reaction on something, right? So you can imagine if this thing is 20 millimeters off the ground and the print head barely scrapes it, no big deal. If it's 40 millimeters off the ground from where it's attached to the build plate and it barely touches it, well, that barely touched it twice as hard. Three times as hard, etc., etc., etc. So if you had something 100 millimeters tall, you're having 5 times the force of that accidental little bitty brush, and now it's like, way harder for it to actually stay attached to the build plate. There's ways around that. You can do rafts, you can do brims, there's ways to, help with bed adhesion, but I've just found the taller it is, the more slender it is, the harder it can be to print. And so you could make it thicker, but then print time's longer. You could use supports, but then print time's longer, and aftercare is longer, because now you're removing supports, which are a total pain. In fact, I can show you an example. Let me do that as I go grab it. But yeah, this is probably the biggest thing I've printed so far. It's not the longest thing I've printed. The guns that I've printed, those little paper vellum guns that shoot paper balls, are probably be the longest amount of time spent printing, just because there's so many parts. But yeah, sorry for the tangent, but this is a 3D printed screw, or bolt, and I have a couple of washers on here because I didn't really make it perfect the first time. But again, with 3D printing, that's kind of the beauty, is don't reprint. Just like when I thought, oh man, this handle is really small. Well, I had already made this. I had it, and I was like, man, this is really too thin. Well, I made this afterwards, because this is just a hollow little shell, and it doesn't hardly take any time at all, and then I can just retrofit what I've already made. Not only can you adapt to things that already exist in the real world, you can adapt to your own prints. So when I made this bolt, or rather when I didn't make these threads quite long enough, and so it wasn't tightening my phone just the way I wanted it to, I was literally able to print these little dinky washers, these little plastic washers, at the exact dimension I needed to, and I ended up needing about 2. They took minutes to print, like no time at all. I easily was able to fix what would normally look, this threads in about this much, but even when it threads in all the way, it can't hold the phone as tightly as it needs to be because, again, misdimensioned on my part. But the easiest fix was literally adding these little washers to it, and I didn't have to reprint this whole thing. And so that was really cool. That was a fun moment for me where I found out, man, I can just fix things that I goof up without having to completely redo them. Like, that sounded great to me. But yeah, that's all this thing does. You thread this in, it acts as a stopping point, and then the orange bit, you know, it can slide as much as it needs to, and that's just what grasps the phone. See, that's it. And it holds your phone in place. You can have it thinner, you can have it thicker, whatever. But yeah, that was a nice little use of 3D printing for me, where I was like, man, I made something I can actually use with some derelict phone camera tripod for a DSLR I don't even have anymore. I don't know why I have the tripod. It was just in the corner behind a bookshelf, and I was like, oh yeah, I still have that? Man, I could repurpose that and actually use it for my phone to film stuff. And I was like, man, what a great, fantastic use. And so this design, this is all for me from scratch, right? But it's not like I just built off of nothing. I was able to go onto printables or Thingiverse, and nice, you moved. What, like not all in one spot all the time? Yeah, I did get up a couple times. But you were able to take inspiration from other things people have made, and so, you know, the idea of having a base with this little, I don't even know what you would call it, this little piece that this other piece can go into, you know, that I'll call this the arm, I'll call this the base, maybe this is the receiving arm, or, you know, whatever the proper term would be. But the whole concept for that, that's not from scratch. That's something I saw and put into place on this new way that I was doing it. Oh, I forgot I turned window link on. Let me turn that off. That's quite annoying. Off you go. Goodbye. Anyway, but yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to lately on the weekends. I've just been messing around, 3D printing, coming up with new ideas. I mean, they're not all useful ideas, let's be honest. But I've been coming up with ideas for various things to make, and it's been quite fun. Let's see. Let me just check my messages. But yeah, so I've been going around making little 3D prints and whatnot. Let me go grab, I was making a point about something before I distracted myself, which I seem very good at doing. Let me show you another real world example, though. It'll be a bit hard because it's full of cat grass right now. I don't think you'll be able to hear me, but I will show you briefly over by the cat cam. But I'll come back and talk to you about it and bring it with me. But alright, so I'm sure you can't hear me over there. I have the audio muted for that tap cam. But it's kind of hard to show you on this. This is my cat grass, these little planters. They're just terracotta pots I bought off of Amazon. Come with a little dish to capture the extra water that might run off in case you overwater your little guys. Terracotta in general, super great for beginners because it does soak up the water, and actually, because it's so porous, and it actually helps evaporate the water for you. I believe various Native American tribes actually used, I don't know if they were unfired, but I think they were unglazed pots that allowed for evaporation. I forget the actual name, but they made them like little jugs. They probably did fire them still, now that I say that. They're just unglazed like this is, to allow for evaporation, because this actually makes it quite cold, and especially if you had a whole jug of water in it, it would cool the water quite a lot. Hi Sherry, hello, thanks for stopping by. It's nice to see people watching, I appreciate it. But yes, so I got the little this little dish. So what all this was meant to do, again, solving real world problems instead of just buying stuff. I already had these, I was already planting the cat grass. Well, before it gets to a certain height, it wasn't sticking up over the rim, and I thought, oh, it'll be fine, but, wow, Mr. Gato over there, he was trying to eat the cat grass, and so he would actually de-root the plant, whereas now it's plenty sturdy enough. He can chew on this all he wants. He can, I mean, I can actually hold this up by the grass, but he was picking this up by the grass, and it was plucking it out, and so he was kind of slowly just pulling out the roots of these various cat, which makes it harder for him to eat, but it also was making a bit of a mess. And so an idea I had after seeing products online was this, and I just took measurements on my own little pot here, and I printed these little lids, which don't really fit on here now, but the idea was that I could let plenty of light through, I could still water through them, but the lids would just sort of friction fit onto these pots, and it would stop the cat from getting enough leverage to either pull them out in the first place, or at least they wouldn't go everywhere. If you did pull them out, they'd get kind of caught, maybe the dirt clumps would get caught, or more importantly, before they were producing shoots above the rim of the pot, it would actually stop him from getting his little mouth in there, and so he couldn't actually go and, you know, and pull up all the seeds and make a mess. So that was kind of something, another real world example of, oh, I made this so I don't have to, you know, sort of deal with this problem that I've created, essentially. But so that's what that is. And so I guess I'll just leave this here. This can kind of live next to me for a little while. It's not hurting anybody. But there you go. You can just chill right over there. All right, let me see over here. So yeah, that's another example of using prints for real world. I think we were talking about threads when I got distracted a bit. Yeah, that's... Why am I at the top? Oh, right, I forgot I ungreen screened myself. Sorry, I was showing off that thing and I did that. Let me undo this again, and I will redo my other video capture. Let me actually delete this previous one and definitely fix this, because I definitely know how to by reactivate. Oh, I do. I'm great, and I fixed it. Fantastic. So I'm back down here on the green screened version. Again, sorry, it was just, I had to show something yellow and green screen wasn't liking it from the chroma key. But yeah, so that's the whole situation with the cat grass, and I think I talked briefly about tolerances for threads, so you can have working 3D printed threads. I do have another example of 3D printed threads. Really tiny, I don't know if you can see, but and it's making me go all fuzzy from the green screen. I guess I'm getting too close. But it's a 3D printed nut and bolt I made in orange, this lovely orange security orange plastic that I got as a gift. But they're these little itty bitty parts. I'm sure they're hard to see, but I was just testing the actual tolerances for the various 3D parts. And you know, I was actually, I don't think I have the piece here anymore. I think I did toss it. But I made this little itty bitty pegboard where it essentially had little notches I printed on it to sort of signify how many increments that I had decided in advance of millimeters or fractions of millimeters that I was changing the hole diameter by. And then I had these pegs that I was press fitting into them to see, you know, how tightly they did or didn't fit. And I was going in increments of, I think, about 0.05 millimeters, so nothing, like nothing amount, right? And I found that at about 0.2, that is to say a fifth of a millimeter, if that is the overall difference in dimension between two touching parts, they will mate, they will lock together, they will friction fit, for lack of a better term, and they will stay together very well. I don't think it's something, it seems like something you wouldn't want to remove or might even be impossible to remove. 0.3 would be a more semi-removable piece with still enough friction to hold things, but it seems like fasteners, either 3D printed fasteners or you know, other options are better if you're looking to, like if you're making a clamshell and you plan on, oh, I'll pop it together and pop it apart again. It doesn't seem to like that. So I've been trying to use more fasteners in that approach. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of the stuff that I would like to show you. I've been kind of just making it as I go and then giving it away. One thing I do have, which is kind of fun, is I was messing around with, I bought these little O-rings off of Amazon, little rubber O-rings to act as gaskets. And I made little various test pieces. And this is quite a tight fit indeed, so it's very hard to get in there. Ugh. But it has probably such a small hole you can't even see. It's a 1mm hole. But you basically, you know, you can use that as a watertight seal. Hold on 1 second here. Yes, so watertight seal, I was using that, and then I was kind of toying with the prospects of making like a water gun or something like that. Oh, power on, I just saw, hi Sherry, yes, I think I said hello earlier, but hello, hi everyone, hi power on, hi Sherry, thank you for watching. Oh look, someone else too. When you're designing a bolt, don't always make the screw go all the way to the head of the bolt. So that's actually a really great point. Thank you for saying that. So yeah, again, something you don't know until you know it. But yes, if you made it to where it's all the way flush, I guess I thought that's just how it should be, not thinking about real-world tolerances and whatnot. I think if you came from like a machining background where you either worked with these parts or even made them yourself, you would probably notice that. You can make a weak spot specifically if it's made out of filament material. Yeah, no, that's a great point as well. Definitely a good point. And for more functional parts, hi, hello, hi. For more functional parts, I definitely have been trying to learn a bit more about that structural integrity and learning how to design things in a way that would, work a bit more functionally. So far, it's been a lot of like aesthetic things and whatnot. There's a lot of things I'm kind of slowly learning about 3D printing. Let me go grab an example real quick. I already tossed it in my giant bin of 3D filaments, so bear with me 1 second. Oh. Yoink. Okay. Sorry, I just realized there's quite a bit of a delay in the stream, so I don't know if you guys are seeing my response, so I just wanted to respond back in chat. But, yes, so I wanted to show you, since we're talking about functional or design mistakes and whatnot, I was actually, let's see if I still have this bad boy. I was actually 3D printing a little lawn chair, and it pretty much disintegrated from the supports. Now, partly this is my fault. I probably shouldn't have printed it at such a small scale, but basically the support material that was used to hold it up as it was printing, it was really difficult to remove. I don't think I was careful enough, and I essentially, destroyed the part as I was going about it. I think, in general, I don't love using supports. They're sort of a necessary evil. But I've been trying to, trash can, literally just a mini trash can, absolutely full of 3D filament, either failed parts or brims or supports or whatever. You either have a bandwidth issue or a bottleneck in your processing. Yeah, that's probably a good point. Like I said, I do have quite a bit of a noticeable delay. It doesn't seem to be CPU related. But I'm not sure if it's just network connection. To be honest, I think part of it might be everything I have on the network currently. So I'm trying to stream that CAT cam. I'm streaming my printer camera on the network. I don't know if that's causing it. Possibly. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. This is my first stream. So yeah, I do apologize for the delays. Let me respond to you in chat really quickly too. Yeah, I think there may be some network delays from everything I have on network currently. I know there would always be some sort of delay, but it's way more than I thought it should be. Yeah, so sorry about that. I don't want it to seem like I'm ignoring you guys. I have been responding to your comments via, web chat. I've been talking to you guys on the video, but I don't think it comes through until quite a bit later. I was trying to watch my own stream to even do some troubleshooting, and I was like, man, what a tremendous delay. And then I'm looking down at here, and like my CPU use is like nothing. I got a fairly new computer. It's not being bogged down or anything like that, but the actual delay in the recording is so bad. I don't know if it's my someone just clocked Spectrum. It certainly is Spectrum, so I don't know if it's their internet is just too slow, or if I'm just I think I probably just have a bad upload speed maybe too. I guess I could test that real quick. Let's see. Let's do a little quick test. Hold on one second, let's see. Alright, so I'll go right now and test this. Let's start it. So it's telling me I'm at about, which is abysmal, but maybe because I'm doing this right now, it's bogging it down. It's telling me 15 megabytes per second as an upload or download speed, excuse me, which is very slow. Let's see here. For upload, 5.5, which, yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm not sure, man. Let's see. I see you guys chatting in the comments. Yeah, you're exactly right, man. 100%. Seems like they only give you a temp fix if you complain. Yeah, I mean, he's Yule on here. He's definitely correct. It does seem like they will temporarily fix it if you complain. And oh, looks like our first print is ready. That's the hockey player from earlier. Let me go grab that bad boy. I'll be right back. Got my first streamed 3D printed part printed. So there they are. Oh, I didn't realize my camera was flipping. I guess it is. But yeah, little hockey guy. Boom. Looks like blue doesn't mind showing up on the green screen, but yellow definitely does not. Yeah. Little hockey player phone stand. Let's see. I can carefully balance it, but yeah, certainly seems to be phone standing, so that's cool. If you put it on a stable phone surface anyway. Yeah, definitely working as intended. Very cool. I think I definitely could have printed it a bit larger. I don't mind the Z-axis that I took away from it. I think that's fine, but I think the overall dimensions in general, it could be a bit taller. Let's see. Up. Oh yeah, so someone else is saying, Power On saying they switched over to T-Mobile home internet. Still inconsistent for them, but they're rebooting it and whatnot. Someone says, where did you get the grass? Is there a link? And then, did I get Amazon? Next time you're going to go live, reboot your modem if it doesn't normally cause you issues, but also see if your PC is the bottleneck. Sometimes it's just one program in the hiding. That's a good point. I'll definitely have to take a peek at my network connections currently and see if anything is bogging me down. That's certainly possible. Could be the service. Let's see. So I'm checking what's using most of my network, just out of curiosity. It looks like it's going to be partly me streaming the VLC media player. It's streaming that Catgrass cam. That's part of it. So maybe I need to switch that to a lower quality. Part of it is OBS. It looks like WebView 2 Manager, which I think that appears to be my Creality stuff. So the Creality cam is probably amounting for about half the traffic as well as my OBS. So it does seem like the cat camera stuff. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I would be curious then, let me just, out of curiosity, right, if I temporarily turn off a couple of these, let's see here. So just out of curiosity, we'll turn off the Creality printer interface, so that's not streaming. I'm gonna see if my streaming service gets any better here by doing that, and then I'm also curious, I could potentially mess around with some of the other recording settings as well. Let's see. I also have this cat cam streaming. Let me try temporarily stopping this as well. Let's see if that does anything to help. It doesn't seem like it helped tremendously. I don't know if it's a YouTube thing or a me thing. Probably a me thing. Learned a lot about kerf and cutting materials. Oh, with cutting materials and building materials. Yeah, it makes sense. So you had a lot of hands-on experience where you've learned kind of the stuff that I'm trying to learn right now, which is basically, you know, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Glad you're liking the soothing music. I got that nice royalty-free, please don't ban me into oblivion 1 hour mix. So that's going on in the background. Yeah, I mean, it's just stuff you don't think about, right, Yule? So it's like, you know, obviously when you cut something, material is being removed, right? If you put something through any type of electric saw or regular saw, you're actually removing that material altogether, the kerf, like you're talking about. And I don't think most people, certainly I don't, really think about it as I'm doing things, right? You're like, oh, I cut this. It's like, yeah, but you removed material. So if you have to take an account for that, right? Like if you try to cut a piece to 1 foot, well, you're going to lose a little bit of that from the blade itself. So you actually have to measure past that, so that way your kerf is beyond the length that you were actually looking for, which is a fantastic point. Definitely things you learn when you're building. I like to put an inner ledge so that an O-ring can go into it and help with the sealing from liquids, sometimes pressure too, but I'll use multiple seals. Yeah, I've only messed around a little bit with liquids. They seem like they're a lot more complex than I initially thought about, which again, you know, go figure. You see a little cheapo 99-cent store water gun and think, how hard can this be? And then you start diving into it and going, oh, I guess there's a lot more to it than you would think. Like even just the fact that a simple water gun has a one-way valve, you go, oh, you know. Yeah, I don't think necessarily those programs really changed much with my drop frames. I'll have to get that figured out then, whether that's my YouTube settings or whatever. I don't know. So it's a bummer on the delay. I'll have to get that dialed in a little bit better. I don't want people to think I'm ignoring them, which, you know, that's seems to be, I mean, that's certainly what I would think if someone didn't respond to me for a huge amount of time. So let me restart my VLC media player. That's interesting. I did install VLC. I wonder why it doesn't want to. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I closed it out just temporarily, and it's all confused now. It thinks I'd never had it in the first place. How strange. Okay. Not sure about that. Let me rerun this real quick. Now Power On's asking Yule if he has a machine or what machine he has. Yeah, I'm curious too. Are you a 3D printer, or are you just doing like traditional building type stuff? Let me type as well. Fillet your edges, or fillet. I always forget how to say that. I guess fillet your edges. your edges and corners. If you can, it helps with keeping parts stronger. Yeah, I didn't realize, thank you for saying that. That's something I've only realized very recently, that you can't have perfectly square corners, because from a design perspective, it's very easy to have these square corners, but it's, you know, it sucks to hold, first of all. But second, yeah, it does create that stress point. I guess inherently I thought a square would be very strong, but apparently they're not. You need to round those edges. Older Enders. Oh, a resin printer as well. That's cool. Okay, right on. So I've seen the Ender printer design. I had something similar. I'm struggling to remember the brand at this moment. It's quite a while ago. I had a 3D printer, two actually, before this. A Monoprice Mini, I think, originally. A very cheap guy. I think the motherboard burned out. And then I ended up getting a larger Ender kind of clone model. And there's a cat cam. It's not cat camming though. Oh no. Let me get that fixed here. Got my VLC cat cam. I'm using VLC to stream, and hopefully it saved my stream settings. I certainly would like it if it did, but we'll see. Nope, it did not. Oh well. You can retype this stuff, it's not a big deal. Let me go back in and fix that real quick. I didn't realize it wouldn't save my my logins. I'm using some sort of RTSP. I'm not super familiar with this. I was just using like an iSpy software previously, but they've since made that out of date. And so I sort of didn't want to bother with their newest software, whatever it's called now, and sort of just made it work. There we go. Got my cat cam back online. Let me turn that back on. You like all CNC and robotics? Okay. Also use the laser so you can learn build in layers and cut. Yeah, I was super... So a lot of it's just me not having the space at the moment. I don't know if there's like a local makerspace around me that I could go to instead, but I was very interested in laser cutting, but you know, and the engraving actually, especially, but kind of the fumes and all that, but not having garage space or anything else kind of bummed me out a little bit. Same with certain types of printing. I do have a little HEPA filter with like an activated carbon filter in there to kind of cut down on VOC particles. I can open the window, I can put a fan up there, you know, as well, but you know, it's definitely not ideal to be printing indoors in general, but I try to stick with PLA and then, you know, do my best to mitigate the fumes, but can't really print in ABS or some of the cooler materials for that concern, or laser cutting, which I actually am very interested in. Devices are coming down in prices all the time, especially compared to when I was younger. Good hobby that can... Well, you're right about that. It is a really fun hobby, and I think it could potentially be a profitable one too. Like, I could definitely see... I mean, I've personally bought little like kits people have laser cut for like a Raspberry Pi case, or just very simple things like that. Power On says, I like watching the 3D printing. I don't know why. It seems very interesting. I'm sure it would get old after seeing it. Yeah, it does get a little old. I like the fact that this particular Cruelty brand printer does time-lapse footage. That's probably been one of the funner things for me in general, because it keeps track of all the prints you've done, but it time-lapses them so they're not quite so boring to watch. But you can still kind of see how the process went, or if they failed, you can see how it failed, which is really cool. Let's see here. Let me mess around here with the settings a little bit. I'm not quite sure how to... Oh, here we go. Let me put you in Power On since you're always here. I'm going to put you on as a moderator, just so you can kind of watch the chat. Not that there's anything crazy happening, but, you know, still. Make sure the music's still going in the background. I can't see it from the windows I have open. It looks like it still is. That's good. Yeah, you're totally right, Yule. So, I mean, it's definitely with everything, right? Like it's fun at first, you enjoy it, and then eventually you sort of get not tired of it, but you sort of get desensitized to it. Like the fact that I can just whip this out with almost no effort of my own, thanks to the lovely people who share the files and all that. You sort of take for granted how easy 3D printing is, all the stuff that goes into it, until your printer jams or anything else happens, because when any problem comes up, you start realizing just how good you had it. I noticed that myself because I was causing problems with that. Good example is this actual lid. I didn't realize, another thing you don't know until you know, I didn't realize that printing something like this, the holes touching the build plate, not just that there were so many holes, but I think it was how I was printing them directly against the build plate. It was causing adhesion issues, which eventually led to a bunch of jams. And so I've tried to be more cognizant of my designs going forward and not create more jams for myself. Luckily, I haven't had too many since then. Oh, you're totally right. Yeah, Yule makes a great point. He says, like the microwave or the oven. So 100%. So I have an air fryer I use all the time. I have a microwave I use all the time. Miraculous technology, but now, of course, I don't sit there and watch it, but I enjoy it constantly. So the new wears off, but the functionality does not. And I think a tool that's so multi-purpose, like a 3D printer or a laser cutter or any type of CNC machine, you might sort of lose the magic eventually, but I don't think you ever lose the functionality or just the functionality. I think that always kind of sticks with you, because you don't always need to print little crappy figurine. Like this is a 3D Benchy, right? You're not always gonna have the novelty of printing stuff like this, but eventually you will have to print something functional. A good example. Let me grab something to put water into. Give me just 1 second, guys. Testing. I'm away from my... Alright. So here is a great example of a functional 3D print. So this is a real-world problem I was having. Oh, someone says... Oh, Yule says. Hey, Yule. Anybody watching can refresh. Bottleneck lag is gone. Hey, let me know if that stays that way, or if that pops back up in chat, because I am curious. Let me type in chat. It's great. Please let me know if that pops up again after the cat cam and print cam are back on. I'm curious if they were the cause or just temp bad internet on my side. Thank you for the update, Yule. I do appreciate that. Yeah, definitely let me know if I'm still lagging after turning those features back on. Hopefully not. But hey, yeah, so back to functional 3D prints. One thing I made, this is the very first iteration. This is just a little pet bottle that I printed in 3D plastic, right? And it was for these little itty bitty water bottles. If you're asking why tiny, to be totally honest with you, Amazon was selling these, prime delivery next day for super cheap. The full-size ones I couldn't find on Amazon. I'm sure I could have went to the store, but I didn't want to do an Instacart order or pay some absorbent fee just for water, and I was like, Amazon is quickly becoming a very guilty pleasure of mine for the convenience, probably way more than it should, especially when I'm checking the bill like yesterday. Payday Friday, and a lot of that went to Amazon, but anywho, so I printed these little lids. This is a real-world example of just how helpful stuff like this can be. So I got this little 3D printed lid, which took me an embarrassing amount of time to actually realize how to get this thread printed. So this is not a actual like thread you can just create with the threading tool, which I was very much taking for granted. It was this very odd, I think it's about was it a 10 or 15 millimeter, it doesn't really matter, thread pattern that, I mean, you've all seen water bottles, but they're half swoop around the cylinder. They're on this particular bottle, there's 3 copies. On a Crystal Geyser, there's 2, where it's 1, 2, 3, or 1 and 2. But they're all very slightly different, it seems like, which is super annoying. But for this particular bottle, I finally horrifically struggled on making this cap design. And one of the features, in fact, I'm being a bit silly. I could just pull this up on my 3D software and show you. I have it open right here. Wasn't even thinking about that. So this is the actual file. Gosh, I don't know why I keep forgetting that. Almost like he's never streamed before. Gosh, what's wrong with him? He just keeps pointing at this blurry camera that takes up such a small portion of the screen. What is wrong with this fool? That's the cap, and so far I've not had any buffering, lag issues, or anything at that point. Great. Well, hopefully it was just my internet being incredibly shitty. That's very possible. But this little inner lid here is present on real water bottles because you're capturing in this little gap in between the actual lip of the bottle, and it helps prevent leaks. Didn't know that, but I did after making the first one because it didn't have that and it leaked. But I definitely did that on the most recent one. This one works really well, just printed in blue instead of red. Don't know why I made it red, just for funsies, I guess. But it threads on here, has a ton of holes as you can see from the print, and you could probably guess what I was using this for, but here's the water bottle, and right, like, it's pretty cool. I know that seems like really like silly, like, oh wow, that was the impressive thing you 3D printed, and it's like, yes, that is the impressive thing I like unironically 3D printed, because before, when my window was freezing up outside, I would put one of those, like PVC plastic blankets to keep it from freezing. And then I would use, water in the morning instead. Not hot water, God forbid, you'll definitely break your window, but room temperature from my house water. And that was kind of the thing I was doing, but you would use so much water, it wouldn't work very good. You would go through a whole water bottle, couldn't really cover most of your windows. Yeah, I could just sit there and let the defrost mode work as intended, but when you live really close to where you work, you tend to want to leave at the last minute, and I was. And so I don't want to be late, so I'm using water to help accelerate the process. Not to mention it's freezing cold and the drive's so quick, I just want to get there and get into the warm work building. But yeah, I mean, I made this to defrost my windows, and it worked like shockingly well. Yule says something else again. He says, yeah, I use tasks like that to teach me how to do stuff that will be useful for greater projects later. And that's a great point, absolutely. So all these things you end up doing, they do sort of add to your tool bag. I think it's kind of hard. Like, I don't want to go too many days because I'm really enjoying it, but I also find it very functionally useful. It's also very fulfilling. I think it could lead to work in the future as well, either designing the files and selling those, selling the actual prints, whatever, right? But you learn a lot from having these projects, so I kind of like it when someone says, oh, I'm having this problem. Like, oh, you are? Tell me about it. What problem are you having? And I get to, kind of find a way to manufacture that. I mean, a great example, let me switch back over here for a second. A great example of something, let me open up another thing I was working on. I guess I could actually show you guys this from scratch. I don't know why I'm being a bit silly, but I just already had the little guy made, and so I wanted to not waste a bunch of your time as I fiddle around with trying to remember what I did. So there's the original file. So let me switch back to 3D. So Fusion 360 has this really annoying feature where they desperately want you to buy something. Those bottle caps would be useful for runners, like trying to get water on them to cool down. That's a great point, actually. Plant waterer, yeah, that's actually. Hold please. Plant watering is actually what I thought of for the second thing once I've made that. So grass watering is actually definitely another positive of making these caps. Unintentional. I am so silly that I really didn't consider the prospect of using that until much later, embarrassingly so. I was literally outside shivering in the cold, defrosting my window going, oh my god, it's so cold, first world problems. And then I started using it to water my cat grass. I don't know, just staring at my window like, gosh, what a great shower stream of water. I wonder what you could possibly for plant watering. Yeah. How many times I have poked a plastic lid or bottle with a pocket knife? Totally. Well, and I've done that a million times, and it doesn't work very well. And that's why I came up with the idea of, multiple holes. That'll be good. But that's some more trouble, and it's not something you're trying to do last minute. So I was like, well, man, I'll just make something. 3D printers are made for this kind of, laborious crap, and it worked pretty well. Hold on one second while I grab one more silly thing. So I actually printed a couple of these. Oops, you're in my way. I'm tripping over stuff. Yeah, when you have the tool to start creating great ideas, just keep coming. It's finding the resources to keep them flowing. That's true. Tools in a toolbox of life for sure. Both great points. So I did make something similar. This is in, oh right. It's in green. It's in green again. Hold on, I don't want to do the green screen thing again. I keep forgetting it. Obviously, I can't show green plastic in front of a green screen. What a dumbass. Sorry, guys. I'm a bit stupid. Jesus Christ. Okay, let me stop being dumb for a moment and see if I can find the file. But what I was trying to say is they came up with this quite horrible thing where they basically don't want you to use their document program, where if you save it, it uploads the files. You get only 10, so I'm trying to skirt the line of how many files I have on their system, which their system is super helpful, super great, until you run out of space and they want $1,000 a month or some obscene amount to subscribe to, which is just not going to happen. Okay, cool. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. So I have, I found out after this, which, oops, but you can make files that are more step friendly for these CAD programs. But I made this little watering can, and I was using that with the same kind of concept, right? I was using all those little holes printed, and it's super annoying that I didn't lose it, but I kind of did, just because I made it in a way to where when you can kind of see it. That's kind of funny. I guess if I stand right in front of it, it does just kind of, yeah, well there's the planter. Green screens are funny, man. But yes, so I use the same concept to water my plants. You could probably just use the water bottle itself. I mean, no problem there. I did make something else. Let's see here. Here's another real world example. So I was making this for no particular reason. I think I took inspiration from some of the, hidden blade style, is it a cane, a walking stick, kind of like post-Edo, or was it post-Edo reform, where you couldn't carry swords around anymore? Meiji reform, possibly? Don't remember. Sorry, Kenshin. But yeah, I was making this, and this blade itself, did you get your settings down so it's not leaking between the layer lines? Yeah, so I did find that I tweaked the settings just enough to where it doesn't leak. It totally holds water. It did take a little bit of finagling, but to be honest with you, my printer right out of the box was already pretty dialed in. A lot of the default settings were fine. I just had to change it a little bit. No leakage. So no leakage at all. I've used this bigger one that you definitely can't see, that's showing up as white. I've also used this tinier one. Oh, let's see here. I've used this tinier one, 0 leaks at all. Yeah. There was a little bit of finagling, but not much, to be honest. As long as I printed at a 0.2 layer height and kept the speeds down, I did increase the wall count for those, so I did an additional, I think, 2 perimeters for the walls, both on the sides and on the bottom. But there wasn't much to change. It actually kind of dialed in once I slowed down the print speeds. It seems like it kind of just made it leak-proof on its own. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So on this knife profile, so I used to design quite a lot of stuff in Blender, but Blender is not really good. Oh, about the cap, sorry. Yes, the cap is, it does not leak either. So the cap actually, this little file here, this is the actual cap, and this little inner lid you can see is totally preventing the leaks. So you can see the gap in between the outer shell and this little inner lid thingy, and the spout kind of goes in there, totally prevents the leaks. But yeah, sorry. So on this knife design, so what was really cool, this is something I didn't know. I learned how to use the sweep tool because you can actually, and I think maybe I can show you the sketches I used for this. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see the sketch profiles I used, and you were able to make these little curve profiles, and then it's sort of like you're doing your own CNCing, but you essentially you can make a tool, a custom tool that will go along the blade and will actually cut out a piece, a segment of the blade, almost like you're machining it in the real world. So you're sort of simulating CNC milling. Like it's the same way I imagine you'd actually mill the blade out in the real world off of a square stock. That's how I made this blade on here, and it's another one of those, like, you know, even though I don't do real. Oh look, my little print cam's all confused because I'm on the wrong page. Sorry, let me fix that for my own OCD. Details, reconnect, prepare. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't know why that bothers me so much, but just my own OCD, I like to have that stay up, even though it's not printing anything. But yeah, I learned that you can still use processes I've never used, like milling processes, or like various like real-world tool applications to simulate tool paths and movements to design things like this knife blade. Like a lot of things, like these edges, there's a tool that's built in. Use the chamfer feature, no problem, right? Like if, just as an example, if you go in here, you can, oops, that's a nice little square, that won't do anyone any good. Make a little 20 by 20, and then you come in here, another 20. Yeah, make this a bit smaller too so you can see this more. But so, I mean, there's default features where you can actually go in and you just select chamfer along the edge, and you can actually just make the chamfer that way. Yeah, Levitanto blade, my current pocket knife carry has this as well. Are you able to move the camera for the printer to the lower left so it's under the chat right now? Oh yeah, I could move that. It's under the chat right now. Oh, I didn't realize that's where the chat shows up on YouTube. Yeah, sorry about that. Maybe up here in the top left corner, possibly. Is that better? Yeah, Fusion 360 and many CAD programs now have CamPro. Oh, thank you. That's what I'm thinking of, CamThem. But you can use Blender. They also have a CAD-CAM program. It's an add-on. Oh, interesting. Okay. I didn't actually know Blender had that feature built in. That's awesome. Hopefully the camera move you see soon. I did see your message. Sorry about that. Didn't realize it was blocking chat over there. Hopefully that looks better. Yeah, I didn't realize Blender started offering that kind of stuff. I just knew at first it didn't offer that feature, and so I sort of slowly drifted away from it and vaguely learned how to use Fusion 360. There's a lot of CAD programs now where you can do those kind of features, I'm sure, but it's just the one I'm used to, and so I've been kind of sticking with it for the most part. Yeah, I just really love the how intricate the details are, that you can actually say, hey, I want a 5mm chamfer, and it does that. You know, you can be very exact and precise with things like that, and kind of like what Yul was talking about earlier. So let's just say, for instance, we were to put, you can project this original line, you can go in with a center rectangle, and let's just make a 5x5. So a really good point he was making earlier, if I made this little extrusion right here, this would be very weak, right? Because it has this square meeting part. The Wave Blender open source. There's a lot of people out there that design their own add-ons. Yeah, and that's a good point too. The open source nature of it, the fact that there's zero cost, no paywalls, is very, very nice. Trial and error, school, online. No, it's mostly trial and error. I did go to school for design, not 3D design. I did 2D design for quite a while, so I had a few jobs doing that. But 3D has just always been something I found incredibly fascinating, even before 3D printing was really reachable for me. I'm a bit old. But no, it's just all trial and error. I've seen a few different online courses on, oh, here's how you do this. So I don't mind watching a video on how to do certain features of a program, but I won't necessarily watch a video on just like how to do everything. A lot of times I like to kind of get into the meat and potatoes of something and just learn it myself as much as I can, and then when I struggle or when I find out I'm doing something stupid or kind of a worse way, I'll sort of learn from that as I go. But yeah, so basically that's sorry, I got a little distracted there, but back to what Yule was saying from quite a bit earlier. He's saying these sort of edges are actually incredibly weak on a part. You wouldn't think so, right? You think, oh, it's just a square connection, what's the big deal? But this little edge right here is actually incredibly weak. And so there's two ways you can fix that. You can chamfer them. And what that means is you're actually adding a chamfer, which is a typically, but I mean it doesn't have to be, but it's just a 45-degree angle to something to make it more gradual. But as you can see, now you have that pressure point just higher up. So you still have another pressure point. So a lot of times this isn't a solution for weakness, it's more of a rounding an edge very slightly for other different uses. But the fillet, which he brought up as well, I'm just doing it this way because it's quicker to select, but this fillet feature, it sort of smooths out those edges quite a bit. And so now instead of that weak spot, you have it spread out over a very long amount, right? Like you're basically spreading out the weakness over a greater section of the part, and it's just helping with that tensile strength. Let me get actually something started back on the printer again. I had a couple of things I wanted to print, so let me get them going just in the background while we're chatting and kind of doing 3D designy stuff. Let's see what I can get going. It does. It makes it quite a bit stronger, absolutely. It doesn't matter in a lot of 3D prints. I mean, I don't necessarily make things that are all practical. Some are just for fun. I did want to print another one of those little toys I was showing you earlier. The yellow one doesn't really come across on camera very well, and so I did want to get another one going. Let me do that. So let me open Creality back up. Pardon the camera shift, it's gonna pop off for a little while as I go back in and grab my files. Just want to go drop this back into place. So I've sort of made, let me switch the browser window here. Yule says, I'm a hands-on learner, more likely to keep a process if I actually use it. Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. That's absolutely the case for me. If I sit through an entire course and learn a bunch of stuff, it's a little helpful, you know, but for the most part, programs aren't so esoteric that you can't figure them out. If you've used a computer, you can definitely just figure it out. And that's honestly, when I see my print cam in the new view is in the wrong spot. Let me fix that for you guys real quick here. Sorry about that. I was talking with Power On a bit earlier, and he mentioned that chat is actually right where the print cam is. And so let me get that fixed in the other window as well. I never moved the little, I don't even know why I have this text label on here. I guess it just seems right. But there you go. So I have that moved over now. But sorry, back to here. So yes, so this is the part I was telling you about. That's from my baton video. And most of these parts are not necessary to print. This is an adapter for a larger handle. Let me split this into objects so I can just piece this out. So this is a extra part if I wanted to make a larger handle. I don't need that. These are the little additional chunky pieces you can print for the handle itself. I don't necessarily need those right now. This is the larger handle piece I was talking about. It would print, you know, it would take quite a bit longer to print. the main thing you definitely need, you need this and all the parts that are nested in it. This is the actual extension bit. This is the adapter plate that connects it to the little threaded rods I'm using as handles. And then I have a little butt plate just as an aesthetic thing to cover up the very bottom. Someone, Power On, says you could literally make just about anything a button for a shirt, for example. Yeah, you definitely could. So one of the things I made several years ago on a different printer was a little pin for a shirt, and I actually bought the hardware for it. I bought the little pin hardware, and a lot of times you can do that with 3D printing. You buy some functional piece, and then you attach it to the design you print, like you design around for it. You just glue it into place, crazy glue, right? And then you can, you don't have to make the actual pin part that sticks into your shirt or the fastening aspect. You can just make everything else and sort of make use of that. I've done that quite a lot with, let me grab this as we're talking about it, just because embedding stuff into 3D prints is actually a really fascinating and cool thing. So, sorry about that. I just had to go grab that now that we were talking about it. A great example is magnets. So you can just embed magnets into your 3D prints. This is 2 pieces. They print just like this. And in fact, let me go ahead and completely forget about this printer stuff. Hold on 1 second. Let me get this print started. I'd like to print 3 of these. And I will center everything just a little bit as well. Because I'd like to get this going in the background just so the printer's actually going. But we'll slice this up. And we'll go back to our 3D file while that's working. This will take a little while to slice. I have another 3D file I want to show you. But so this thing says it's about a 40-minute print, which is not bad in the least. And so I'm going to go ahead and start that. Get it going in the background, give us something to look at on our print cam rather than just this awkward layer height thing. They stick together. Yes, they do. And so I will go over that right now. Let me just get this print going. I need printer action. Me too. I keep forgetting to start it, and then I feel bad because I get distracted on 6 different tangents, and then I'm like, well, I'm having fun. I hope you guys are too, but I just, like, oh, well, I could be printing something. At least the printer cam would be running, but it's just my OCD. I kind of get distracted way too easily. So that's sending over right now. It seems like it takes quite a bit longer when you use separate parts. But yeah, 40 minutes for this print, which again, this will be hard to see because it's on green screen, but gosh, that is quite odd looking, isn't it? It's yellow, but it's still being green screened out. But it's a collapsible squirrel. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Power On. It's a collapsible baton file that I designed. Right, that's what we're printing right now. It's basically a duplicate of this in a much more green screen friendly color because, that is kind of cool. I'm not going to lie, that does look pretty sick, but yeah, I'm going to print another one just to keep something. I do want a couple of those. Those are fun to give out as gifts. They're just like a little fidget toy. But so we got that going. Print cam's actually printing, so that's great. I'll remember not to minimize it this time. That would be very smart of me. And then we'll talk about the magnets. Let me actually open up the magnet file as well. I don't think I still have it here. I think I have it, like I was kind of complaining earlier, Fusion 360, great program. I love it quite a lot. I'm very used to it. But it doesn't allow you to have unlimited saves. So here's the STL. I actually wanted to show you the CAD file, which I do believe I have. I think it's just saved in a weird spot. Magnet. No. Let's see. Oh gosh, I hope I saved it somewhere. I don't know where I've put some of this stuff just because my organization leaves something to be desired for a lot of these. Let's see if I've saved it somewhere. I can still show you here. It's just, I do like it when I have the actual file. Magnet fidget, is that what I was calling it? Yeah, I guess listen, I don't know why I called it magnet fidget. I really couldn't explain it to you. Let's see. Okay, and let's see here. That reminds me, I need to make something like that to go on the broom handle. It broke off the other day. Yeah, and that's the great thing about a 3D printer. You can very easily do that with very little labor. Apologize in advance. I know the 3D camera looks a bit odd, almost like it's being clipped off. There's a bit more to it, but it doesn't go much further. I just kind of cut it into a square. So that's pretty much as far as it goes. It doesn't encompass the entire bed, unfortunately, but you will still see the majority of the printing from that. So I'm just making it a bit bigger for that purpose. And then remind me as I just OCD adjust this to be in line with CatCam. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, no, I agree, Power On. That is a fantastic idea because, I mean, why buy something that you can print for literal cents? A spool of plastic is anywhere between, 1,000 grams, because it goes by a kilogram, 2 pounds. 1,000 grams is approximately $20 to $25, depending on the brand, if you're Amazon Prime, whatever. He says I can see it better. Good. Okay, yeah, sorry about the cam thing for the print cam. It's just, I don't know, the angle it has on it's a bit awkward. But yeah, you can print stuff for like what? Let's just say, well, I can actually tell you, I suppose, but let's say you use 35 grams of plastic on this little magnetic Hello Kitty bottle opener. Ask me why so specific, but oh my gosh, is this it's trying to blue screen the Hello Kitty as well, even on the blue, huh? It's just this little printable file I found online. It uses the dime as the actual bottle opener portion of it, and then I added, you can kind of see it, magnets on the back. But yeah, for something like that, 35 grams of plastic, you can do the math. I mean, $25 divided by 1,000 gives you 0.025 times 35. It cost me 87 whole cents to make that Hello Kitty print. I mean, you're not going to buy something like that for cheaper. You can get 1,000 grams of filament now for $10 ABS, not just a PLA now. Wow, $10 is incredibly cheap. Power On says, seems like if you're handy and can afford the initial cost of the printer, it can probably save you an infinite amount of money over your lifespan or the lifespan of the printer to make things that might break. Yeah, I think you're right. It can definitely save you a lot of money here and there. I think the most incredible cost savings I saw was on something really silly. Someone needed these little spacers for their fence, but they were proprietary and designed in a way. Does that count? Does the dime count? No, I guess not. 97.5 cents. Good point. But they had these little spacers where they weren't, incredibly expensive. I think they were like 60 cents or 70 cents, something like that. But they needed well over 2,000 of them. And you can imagine at $1,400, that's quite a lot. But if you pick the right material, not PLA, but like maybe an ASA or an ABS, something like that, that would be more able to withstand the UV light outside. They might have used PETG or something. I can't remember the exact filament choice they used or if it was the best one, but I mean, if you just do the math and say, oh, okay, well, if you needed, let's just do 1,000, right? Let's say you needed 1,000 pieces at 60 cents, that's a lot of money. If you say 1,000 pieces at 60, that's $600. But if you needed 1,000 of them and you could print them for even just 10 cents a filament, that's $100. It's an incredible cost savings depending on what you need or what the markup is on certain things. So a great example is if I didn't go out and buy one anyway on Amazon, which I did, but if I didn't, this little device here that I was using to retrofit my existing, I have it right here, my existing tripod, right? This is a DSLR tripod. I was using this as a retrofit to hold my phone. And something like this, this exact one, God knows, it's over 15 years old, but something similar that I just bought was about $25, and that's with Amazon Prime as well. So I mean, you could mark up the price a bit for shipping if you wanted to, but whatever. Amazon Prime is cost of living at this point. You need Amazon. Not sponsored. Not saying no Amazon, just But no, I mean $25 for something that, I mean, it's my time, right? It's my time to design this part, but it must have only
Maybe
been
you're having a good night out.
20
The
cents,
signal is
40
only
cents in
so
plastic,
far
like
apart,
nothing,
right?
right? It's incredibly,
Actually,
incredibly
fentanyl has
cheap
been found in
to
party
3D
drugs,
print
cocaine, and
useful
ecstasy.
things that can
And
be
the
incredibly
tiniest amount can
more expensive, especially if you have something that can already be used with the 3D print. Obviously, if I had to 3D print this entire tripod, that's a different story. If this is the height I needed something to get to, and I had to print the whole thing, well, you know, that's a bit more plastic. Still not anywhere probably near that cost, depending on, you know, whatever, but it's print time, it's design time, it's all that. But a lot of times you can make something old work with something new, and you can repurpose things, which not only are you saving on the shipping, not only are you saving yourself money, you're saving the environment a bit as well, which can be really cool. Sorry to be so tangent-y, but that's life. For a lot of those small items that are basically just plastic items, you can buy a whole roll plus small accessories like springs and screws. Absolutely correct, Yule. Yes. And so the one thing you don't have is like the springs, which, you know, I even have them sitting right here. These are M2.5. I just bought these because I was doing something with a CMF phone recently, and so I was making a couple of custom parts for a CMF phone, which I can show you guys. This is just a little assorted kit of 2.5M, screws and bolts, and then this isn't for that, but this is also a. So you see my print coming along. This is also just a miscellaneous set of springs and whatnot, and I've used that, for instance, in the little gun I designed, the little paper gun, and they're incredibly cheap. I think it was like $10 for this whole set of springs. So, I mean, you know, when you start accumulating some of these various tools that you can use for stuff like this, the cost sort of is negligible once you have a lot of that stuff already. Like, for instance, I bought the magnet thing to make this little, the Hello Kitty is kind of showing up better now. I bought the magnets for stuff like this to, you know, fridge magnet designs and stuff like that. And so once you already have them, you can split the cost over multiple projects and sort of incorporate the cost. And it still ends up incredibly cheap, way cheaper than just buying something off of Amazon. Excuse me. But, back to the whole embedding stuff into prints thing, I think this is incredibly cool. This is a fantastic feature. And I've essentially embedded the magnets into here. Power On says CMF by Nothing Phone. I've seen video. It's supposed to be customizable. You'll look into compliant this is Yule. You'll look into compliant mechanisms, 3D printing them. You can do a lot of stuff and build it into your designs. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you just have to kind of account for that various stuff you want to add, and you can add a lot of functionality. You can make parts for that also. Yeah, let me pull it up. I just wanted to show you the inside of this real quick to show you the whole embedding thing, and then let me pull up the CMF phone thing as well. Hold on one moment, please. So we'll go back to inspect, section analysis, and so basically what I was doing, not on this particular one, but I had designed another Amazon delivery, I think. Sure sounds like it. Let's see.
Tulad ng buy one and add one for $1 deal sa paboritong pit stop ng lahat. Or, kapag kailangan mong panoorin ang playoffs, umorder ka ng meal deals para sa
Pardon me.
At kung may time ka before the bell to save on breakfast, umorder ka ng deals sa app. Choice mo to. At ang choice mo value is always more.
Hello.
Get more than you
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Random. Usually they just leave stuff right at your door. I don't know why the Amazon delivery driver came and knocked, but since he did, let me grab. I guess maybe because I left something at my door, to be honest. Let's see. Let me grab the other thing that's out there. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't expect him to knock, and I didn't want him to take my precious delivery away. That would be awful. What would I do without my very important delivery? Oh, and if you're wondering what the important delivery was, don't worry. I am more than happy to show you. Let me just pre-censor myself here by removing the label. No offense, but I don't really want my address online. Alright, let's open this up. It's a little rougher for the shipping. My goodness, quite a bit rougher, but Hopefully the precious cargo is fine. Let's see if I missed any chat. Something, or it's someone stealing your other packages. Yeah, a lot of phones have different types of cases that, you're right, a lot of people do the work for you and make a lot of that cool stuff. And that's what's so great about the online community for 3D printing. Everyone's so incredibly generous with their time and efforts. They'll share sort of the effort they put into it for you. You want to see what's in the box? So this is very egregious, and I'm not embarrassed. I really love these, but what it is it's a gigantic box of chips. And you go, oh, well, you know, what's the big deal? These chips aren't special. Well, they are. They actually are. These are Zapp's Voodoo flavored kettle style chips. And Sequoia Sandwich Factory has these chips in slightly bigger bags, actually. But they have these exact chips, and man, hold on one second. They have to be what I can only describe as a mixture. As a mixture between salt and vinegar and barbecue. And I've only ever seen them at Sequoia Sandwich Factory, at least the one where I live nearby. You're not really green screening my chips, are you? That's pretty crazy. This should be like more skin color than green screen color, but damn, green screens are pretty picky, huh? Chroma key. That's probably my fault for the settings, but yeah, they're like a mix between salt and vinegar. They're good. I've heard of those. They are really good. These are really good, and I am so desperate for this delicious flavor, I've actually bought them on Amazon. I don't know what to say. It is ever so slightly embarrassing, if I'm being honest, but it's worth it. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize there was an ad playing on that music. I do apologize for that. A lot of times, a box filled with some product, buying in bulk is always cheaper. Well, yeah, it is incredibly cheap to buy stuff like this off of Amazon, so let me see here. A lot of alerts today. Yeah, I was really surprised the UPS driver knocked, like weirdly surprised, or excuse me, the Amazon delivery driver. I don't think I've had one knock yet. Like even when they drop stuff off, they just throw it at the door. Chip hoarder. Chip fetish. Listen, you do have to buy that many. I didn't want that many. I would have bought less, but Amazon only had them in that tremendous, huge bulk design. The good news is my parents like these chips, and so I will share those chips with my parents. They're not super expensive. I don't feel terrible, and to be honest, and this is a sort of a life hack for everybody out there, don't tell Amazon, even though I'm sure they're undoubtedly aware of this, but you can actually order a lot of this stuff on subscription. Crunchy, delicious. Yeah, they're kettle styles. They're very crunchy and delicious. You can order a lot of this stuff and get special, and this is how I got sucked into doing it, because of course it is. You can get these on subscription. You do subscribe and save, and you set the subscription to reoccur several months from now. They have them in cases that they usually send the stores, and it's cheaper for the store to buy them, and you're getting it at that price, I believe. And you're absolutely probably correct there. I bet you that's what their intention is, to supply some sort of deli or something, not a single man living in his apartment with an addiction to voodoo flavored chips. But, well, that's how it went today. Yeah, so I literally have this right now. It's set for 1 unit every 6 months. And honestly, in 6 months, I might want these chips. Who knows? But the beautiful, beautiful thing about that is you don't have to keep the subscription, and I'm not going to. I'm actually going to cancel this subscription, and I'm doing it right now so I don't have to remember in the future. But you literally just go into here to your subscriptions, you edit them. I'm doing it right now, as a fact. Now you need chips. They're on Amazon. They're super cheap, but I highly recommend not getting them because you'll need them forever. Boom, boom, boom. You don't even have to give them a reason. You just say, hey, it's canceled, and boom, they're canceled. So that was a 42 count of, again, they're like salt and vinegar and barbecue chips, but I think I saved, I mean, it must have been at least $5. Like I said, these chips aren't like going to break the bank in the first place. You get a 42 pack for $28.49 right now, but for subscribe and save, and they're a full $30 right now if you do a one-time purchase. But for subscribe and save, they gave me some money off, and then additional 5%. They were like $20. that box won't last you 2 months. It won't. It definitely won't. You're right, but I don't want them again. I could leave the subscription, but I really don't want them to come because I will eat them. I will absolutely take these to lunch. I'll eat them at home. I'll eat several bags. Even though they're snack size, I will just eat several bags after bags after bags. And it's, you know, it's not good for me to have these. And I haven't ordered them in months. But I finally did. I was really in the mood. I kept thinking about them and went, you know what? I deserve these chips. And oh gosh, that is Power On. Oh my god, let me take a screenshot. That is so funny. Hold on 1 second. Oh gosh, I have to save that just because it's so funny. I think I have a, do I have an Illustrator window? Let me see, hold on 1 second. I need to make an additional scene for Photoshop because I do use Photoshop quite a bit. I was smart enough to make one for Illustrator just because I planned on using it for SVG and stuff. There you go. There's a screenshot of the chat there. 2 months, you're gonna be you're gonna be mad that it's not at the old subscriber price. You was so fun. He's on the money. He's on the money. But what this is called, everyone watching right now, this is called denial. I'm pretending deeply, deeply trying to convince myself that I don't want these chips. But this right here, this is just egregious. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this freaking, like, this is supposed to be like coffee pouring in his face. Those are my chips. That's me just, you know, just engulfing this bag of chips, and it's not wrong. It's just what I do in my private time. I would never do it on camera. That's barbaric. Let's see. Print time, you say, though. Let's take a peek. Print time says it is 15 minutes in, and it's got 24 minutes to go. You can zoom in a little bit too, I guess, just for funsies. It's going. You can see the threads are already finished on the most outer bit there. It's almost done, it looks like, with the receiving handle. And then, of course, those will continue printing for quite some time. Yeah, Yule does know Power On. You're absolutely correct. I am a chipped fiend. I'm not proud of it. This exact icon right here that you did, that's correct. That's what I'll be doing. I'm not happy about it, but it is the truth. So what are you gonna do? Oh, so yeah, we talked about the magnet embedding. I think we were gonna talk about. Let me close some of this junk. Boop boop boop. Got the knife thing I was talking about. Little water bottle guy. I'm talking about the threads. Let me find the file. But yeah, I made a lovely little CMF. Well, because you know the CMF one, the by nothing, the phone, they had this promise of like, oh, you know, in fact, here I'll pull it up for you. CMF phone kickstand. They had this promise of all these various accessories, and people were very excited for the accessories. That was the whole gimmick that they were supposed to be providing. How do I switch this to browser? That was the whole gimmick of what they were, and I guess I could, yeah. This is the whole gimmick of what they were providing was the, don't worry about it, enjoy your chips. Better a bag of chips and a chip than a chip on your shoulder. That's true. Yeah, better to eat them instead for sure. So, but yes, for CMF phone by nothing or CMF nothing phone. Not sure the exact naming cadence there, but so they have the kickstand. Where are all this from, country and or state? I'm United States. I'm over here in California. Not sure where are you. I would be curious to hear if you guys are over here on the West Coast as well, or if you're Middle, East Coast, or even somewhere outside of the U.S. Definitely let me know. I would be curious. As we're all chatting, it's nice chatting with all you folks. But yeah, their whole premise, they were. I got this silly mic in my way, so it's hard to see. But back to my 3D window, back to Fusion, and then let me open up. I think I did it under Kickstand version. Yeah, here you go. So I actually, Power On says U.S. also. What part of U.S. are you in, Power On? Oh, California! Yay! Nice. Nice to see a fellow Californian. Let's see. Oh, East North Carolina. It looks like. I believe NC, right? North Carolina. Oh, so you're a bit farther east for sure than us. Okay. Different time zone. Are you middle? I'm really bad with geography. It's very typically Californian of me to not know my exact geography. You, how far ahead on time are you? Are you 2 hours or 3? I'm not quite sure. Oh, power on with the sports. I wish I could follow. I'm not a huge sports guy. Even though I'm wearing a Cardinals hat right now. I say that. Yeah, this little kickstand by Nothing Phone, they never sort of delivered on the promise, right? And since they never did, I just went in and I used publicly available, Power On saying 3 hour time difference. I must be familiar with the area, a little bit more so than me. But yeah, they never really delivered on their promise for their kickstands. And you know, I had my dad who was really into these phones, and so we kind of came up with an idea, and I basically made my own kickstand off of publicly available files. This is all print in place. I could print one. It doesn't take super long to print to show you guys once that other stuff is done. But I mean, the basic premise is this is all one piece, and it doesn't rotate exactly because this is in CAD or whatever, right? But you can see the little pegs on there. And it prints in place so that the pegs sort of bridge and hover into this little support area. And that way it's all in one piece and it works. And this kickstand just comes out. The little thumb screw goes through the back where there's that little inset portion there. And it's just my own, version of the kickstand that they came up with because they weren't making them really very readily available. So it's just stuff like that where you're like, oh man, that sucks. My dad was really into this phone. He wanted to use it, big phone guy, and he couldn't. And so I was like, oh well, let me fix that for you. Like, no problem. Yeah, like we can get you a kickstand designed, and hopefully it's been holding up. I'm not sure how to ask him, but yeah, pretty cool, I have to say. 6 p.m. there for us. The colleges aren't too far from here. Mudcat Stadium is up the street. Oh, okay. Right on. Got a little sports talk going on. I've never been... Oh, look! I just realized my cat's actually in the window. Finally. A little cat cam going on. Check that out. He's staring out the window. I suppose that's probably what the other delivery I just received is. I ordered this little window cleaner. It's like a telescopic window cleaner. You can't see a lot from here, but the outside windows are getting a bit gunky. Power On is asking for print or timer. Looks like we got 20 minutes printing, 18 minutes or so to go. And so there's Tayo there in the back. There's my little kitty. He's hanging out. You can see him kind of messing around with the scratcher, enjoying it quite a bit. And then he's jumping up and doing his thing. He's been sitting on that lower one down there quite a lot. He really, really enjoys it. Wonder what he's looking at. I can tell you what he's looking at. So there's been some stray cats around here, and there's a little block wall. I'm on the second story, and there's a block wall that goes up to about the first story line. And the little cats, they walk around past there, and so he'll periodically see them, and he'll start. I mean, I don't think he saw them now. Maybe he saw a bird. Normally he makes that little like that little like chirping sound cats make. I don't know what you would call that, the trills or something. Normally he would make that sound. Oh look, you can see my missing cat grass. It looks off. I'm so used to there being another one there. I was like, where did my other cat grass? Oh, right. I guess green screen means no grass shows either. Huh, weird. Yeah, he's probably looking at birds and stuff. We got the little window there and got the birdies and stuff. I do wish this commercial building wasn't right plopped next to me. I think you'd have a better view, but, what are you going to do? Is what it is. Yeah, lovely little cat cam. And then where did my print cam just disappear to, huh? I think it's because I need to stop doing that. I guess whenever because you always think, oh, I'll just minimize this window, right? Like that's like your knee-jerk reaction when you're going to go look at something else. But when I do that, it stops capturing it. The little window source stops capturing. Instead, I'm supposed to click on the window I want to see next, and it brings it on top, but it doesn't minimize it, if that makes sense. Sort of like works in layers. That way we can leave the print cam up and running. Cat has already clearly wandered off. Let me see if I can go wrangle him real quick. Hold on one second. You mind if I wrangle you? Yeah. Come here. Come on, little baby. Let me wrangle you a little bit. Come on. In front of the green screen. Let's see. Here's my little boy. Hey, can I tell you a little? Can I say hi to the folks? He's very docile. He's a nice little guy. Very well behaved. Even though he's being man. Oh look, do you smell anything good? What's going on? Wanna check out that camera over there maybe? It's good for clicks. Oh, cat nose. And he's like, yeah, I'm kind of over you, bro. I got stuff to do. You want this? I have your cat grass. Are you very suspicious of me? Like, yeah, why do you have that cat? Let me go return the cat grass. Hold on. Come on, Bubba. Let's go. I'll bring the box for you. I'm sure you want to see the big box of chips we just got. Okay. Wrapping your little edge. Yeah. Wait. So the cat's the designer. I think a lot of engineers have cats that do the designing for them. Yeah, he's definitely the brains of the operation. That's why he's posted up over by the 3D printer. He's got to keep an eye on things, dial in the settings just in case. I have to say, I'm really impressed with this Creality printer. I'm a little bit sad I didn't get a different one. After doing some more research, I did see that the Bamboo had a bit of a snafu with some firmware, and they're trying to force people to go online, maybe towards like a cloud model or something. But I was very interested because they had a very cool, what's called I believe it's the AMS, or Automatic Material System. I can show you it online, but it's a really cool thing that I am a bit sad I don't have, but at the same time I don't really need. That cat knows you did something to. He did. He started inspecting it. Look at him. Immediately. He immediately is inspecting it. Like once I've put it back, I'm like, bro, you got like literally full grown grass. You got another growing grass. But he literally was like, he saw me when I pulled him up here. He's like, hey, can't help but notice you got my grass over there on your desk. That's a bit odd. you wouldn't think he would notice, huh? Look at him. He's chomping away at it, though. Yeah, he's like, yeah. Oh, I think he hears us. Yeah, I think he hears him. I'm gonna minimize the window back down. I think he didn't like how loud I mean, he pays the rent, so I gotta really be careful, mind my P's and Q's around here. But the Bamboo, they make a AMS, an Automatic Material System, and so it's really quite the cool feature. I know that there's other printers that are going to be offering it as well. I think Creality actually has it now too, technically. But it's essentially a little spool that holds this one up to 4 different materials, and then it has this like little system where it will automatically change out the print filaments for you. So you can do multicolored prints, so you can do multiple material prints. Some people like to do, they have water-soluble types of plastic you can use for supports, or you can use different things for different, like, you know, if you want this part to be flexible, that part to be rigid. Yule says, yeah, any Cubic one has the multicolored unit if you're trying to not get locked into Bamboo, but they do make a good printer, Bamboo. Yeah, I really was impressed by their stuff, and then got kind of scared away by their whole, like, business tactics of locking people down and going cloud and all that. I'll have to look into any Cubic then. I went a little bit, I think I pulled the trigger too fast. It's, you know, Creality was on Amazon, it was a good price. When you expand the cat cam, the lag potential comes back. That's good to know. So maybe there's too much stuff going on in my little OBS. Thank you for the heads up, Yule. I'm glad to know that. Okay, so I'll have to cut down on that. I don't know if the... Well, hi! What's up? What? You got something to say? He doesn't like me talking about him. Huh. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah. He just came in to put his 2 cents. I couldn't even pick him up. He just... Alright, well, now that I've made myself heard. Anycubic. Oh, one word, is it? Gotcha. Yeah, I would be interested in the multi-material system. I'm a bit sad I didn't get one that was 4 words compatible with it or whatever. Oh no, he's back again. He's wandering around. Right. Yeah. But you know, it's not the end of the world. 3D printing, the multi-filament stuff, it does create a lot of waste. It's kind of very popular to call them poops, I believe. Little printer poops. Let me YouTube it for you real quick. Oops. YouTube. Good lord. Spelling is not my forte, huh? So we'll do bamboo multi-color print waste. Yeah, too much poop, basically. Let's see if I just pull up this gentleman's video on mute real quick. Don't mind the ad. I apologize for that. Boo, can't see the print. Oh no! Oh god, bad fan service. Let me, what did I do? How did I turn the freaking print cam on? Oh wait, oh, I see. Sorry. It, I have several different scenes, and some of the scenes still have the print cam in the wrong space. Sorry about that. This one was still tucked in under chat, I believe. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, there's the printer poop I'm talking about. Creality makes a really good printer as well. Historically, I've allowed upgrades. Yes, I'm excited about that. I'm hoping that they'll have some forwards compatibility, but just pausing back on this video a little bit. So that printer waste right there, that's what I'm talking about. So when it does this multicolor prints, it has to purge every time. It purges a little bit of the filament that it was using to get it out of the nozzle. So when you're doing regular filament changes out, in between prints even, it does that. You have to hit the retract button, it'll extrude a little bit, kind of what's left in the section that it has to get rid of, and then it'll retract the rest once it's been heated up to temperature, so it doesn't get stuck. And when it does that, you actually purge a little bit of material. So when you do multiple colors in a print, like these little figurines in the back, it looks very cool, but it creates a tremendous amount of waste. And so one of the ways I was kind of getting the multicolor prints without multicolor prints is I was just printing in batches. You know, like when I was doing, well, here a good example. Let me pull up Illustrator View again. I'll start rotating these cameras. Sorry about that. I kind of forgot it doesn't automatically upgrade in between each of these. Yule says you want to get a multi-head Prusa, then you won't have to deal with all the waste. But they're coming out with something called poly dye that stains. Oh, for coloring. That's really interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would be super interested in that. So the multi-head system, I have to imagine, is going to be expensive. Like with the tool changeouts, probably a higher cost, but I could definitely justify that if it did something with less waste. And then the dye thing sounds really interesting. I know I've done, let me grab it. It's on my table back here. So I've only done a little tiny bit, like barely even touched my toe or dipped my toe into it. But I was vaguely trying to print. I don't like, again, small place. What's this here? Love the concept. Yeah, dye the white. No, I love that concept. If you could have one filament and then just have like, you know, ink tank cartridges or you know, something where it dyed the filament, that would be great. Like as it was being extruded. It's an interesting concept. I don't know how that works exactly, how it gets it to do, if it's like a 2-stage thing where it like stops and dyes it, or if it dyes it as it's being extruded. But I have noticed, for instance, say just now when I was changing out between blue and yellow, it actually extruded a little bit of green. I don't know if I still have that. I think I do. It's so thin, it's almost laughable to try to show this as an example. Let me just show it in a bundle and maybe you can kind of see it, but it's probably going to be a bit hard to see, but you can, if it's not being green screened as well, but you can see some blue, some green, some yellow. when I was doing that filament change, it actually merged the two colors. Oh, thank you, Power On. Yeah, he's a very pretty little guy. Can you paint or color these things once printed? Yeah, you absolutely can. Sorry, that's what I was getting into. You can, it's just a huge pain. So here's a, I don't think the actual, I had a term for this, for the little book holder thing. I don't think it's actually accurate, and to be honest, I forgot what I was calling it. I was calling it a lectern, but I don't think that's right. It usually has a stand below it, but yeah, you can. It's kind of hard to see, but you see I've printed this a bit red. I've printed this kind of a woody color. I left the white, which it actually is white. And you can see on the back where it's been kind of sloppily done because it was on the back, but I was printing the white plastic in a black primer. And then once you have a couple of coats of primer on it, then you can go back and actually color them. But depending on how well you do it, it leaves streaks. And so I think most people might do something like this with spray, especially for the primer. I just don't have the space for it. And so I was trying to brush on, I actually have it right here. This is literally a purpose-built primer for models. A lot of model makers use this, but it's for, what are those called? Little spray guns, airbrushes. But yeah, I was actually brushing this on. It's something you can definitely brush on. It's a little bit more tedious, and it has dry time in between, and it's a very long process. Yule says again, yeah, still in beta, one color is the filament right before it goes into the extruder, and one color is after each layer. Oh, I see. So people do paint to sound most amazing looking. Are you sitting on a secret toilet? How do you not need bathroom breaks? 2 hours have passed. I didn't even realize. Neither have I. To be honest, I do have to go to the bathroom. I was going to go take a potty break, and I just got continually distracted and haven't done so. Full-sized armors, modified vehicles. Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. All of that is very, very, very correct. And you can make some really amazing like cosplay and functional like full-size parts. I've seen a lot of very impressive 3D prints, and actually something I was a little bit interested in is you can rent out time from some of these they're essentially print farms where you can go and yeah, I got a little, oh okay, you have a little airbrush as well. So I probably need to get a little setup for that. I think as long as I get some ventilation in the kitchen, I could probably do something similar to that. I was just being a bit cautious because again, I was already being a bit probably overly paranoid with just the VOCs from the PLA. But yeah, I definitely consider doing an airbrush or something similar, or trying to get like some space where I could, find and spray at. In fact, Power On brings up a fantastic point. I do want to hit the potty really quickly. I don't want to bring back too much lag with the additional cams, so I wonder if I should do this, but I'm going to make a duplicate scene real quick. And I'm going to call it potty break. And if I switch to this scene, I wonder if I can't just make print cam a bit bigger, cat cam a bit bigger, something like that. I know it's going to bring back a little bit of lag, but it'll be temporary while I go to the potty quickly. Timer check. Are you able to show us a timer? Yes. I definitely could probably figure out a timer. It's about 3 minutes left into the print, and I will try to figure out a timer situation. Oh, so you're saying a box filter and blower system. I could probably 3D print an attachment for one of those Lasco box fans. Uh-oh, I did the Alt-Tab thing again. And have that right next to my work. That's actually a really great point. After this last print reveal, I got things to do. Hey, no worries, Power On. Thank you for sticking around for so long. I'm going to go do a quick potty break. Printer has another 2.5 minutes to go. I do appreciate you sticking around for as long as you have. Like I said, this has been a test stream, so it's been, yeah, I know, potty break. I'm a child. Hold on, what's that? Actually, not that you can hear me from the bathroom, but I'm going to do a quick mic mute too. And he's back. I hope we can't LOL. Oh, you're referring to hearing me, I guess. I went potty, did wash my hands, nice and clean, and I got myself some tea. Dude, I'm telling you. I wish I knew how to. I need to figure out how to quickly disable this green screen feature. My gosh. Let me turn that back down. If things keep going like they are, the next set of 3D printers might have AI, and you might be able to chat with them. You know what? That's actually incredibly. That would be incredibly cool if there were more AI features built into it. Right now, they've been pretty AI hasn't gone much past the like talking stage, like as a chatbot. Hi, Chatty Cathy. Yes, hello. Hi. Yes. Oh yeah. One cat. He's chatting at me again. Hello. I say hello. You on stream? No? Yeah. Good boy. Quite a good bowel move. No. That was definitely pee. AI printers would be freaking badass. Oh, he doesn't like being held, even though he's such a baby. He wants attention, but he doesn't want to be held. Cats. Alright. Nag, nag, nag. He's a cutie pie, though. He's a very good kitty. This is green tea. You can't see. I do really want to know how I can quickly... And maybe you can't, I don't know. Maybe it's just something you just can't do. Oh yeah, okay, cool. So I can toggle this off temporarily. Good to know. So that's the chroma key toggled off. Yeah, this is my my green tea I just brought back, which I don't know why there's been so many green screen resistant things I keep bringing in, but I think it's just like, what is that, Occam's razor? Something like that. Yeah, he's a cuddle buddy for sure. Cuddle buddle? I didn't misread that. He's a cuddle buddle, yeah. Cuddle buddy, I think is what you meant, I hope. Buddle's not a word. But, yeah, okay, good. I was glad to know I could toggle off the green screen feature. I guess now that I can, I could show you my actual, yeah, no shit, the watering can. So you got that little guy and the tiny one. A lot of YouTube tech reviewers with cats as partner. I mean, they're a great addition to your apartment. I mean, if you live alone, you know, it's nice to have someone meowing in the background and kind of keeping you company for sure. So it's nice. I enjoy it. Yeah. Okay. I wanted to show you this little guy. So here's what's printing right now. This is in yellow, but this is what's printing right now, and it's just a little extendable baton guy. Now looking a lot less psychedelic, of course. Oh. Done. Yes, it sure is. Fantastic. Okay. So we do have our 3D print done. That is fantastic. Let me go ahead and go grab that. Be right back. Alright, I probably need to get something figured out too. Maybe a portable... I do have a portable mic, but I don't know if it'll work the way I think it will. I gotta get that figured out though. But yeah, got my 3D print all ready. It doesn't have too much cleanup to do. It does have these little brims. On green screen. I think I'm gonna toggle that green screen feature back off just temporarily so you can see this a bit better. Let me go back into chroma key filter and disable that. Just temporarily. I'll turn that back on later. But yeah, so there's the actual part. It's all printed out. There's a little bit of a brim on it, but that's very easily removed. You can use pliers, but a lot of times I find it very easy just to remove by hand, which I'm doing now. You can be a bit gentle depending on the edge it's on. I don't want to rip these threads off because I printed them in a bit of a silly way. But I've got that removed. So yeah, the way this initially prints out, it's just a loose stack, so you can actually take all the interior pieces out and then they just, stack together. There's nothing holding these in place. It works right now. It's a little bit tight because it hasn't been used at all. That's what she said. But yeah, it does work right now. There's just nothing holding it on, and so that's exactly what this little adapter plate is for. This just threads on. There we go. Boom, threads on, so now the pieces don't fall out. And that technically works as is. I probably could have made this as the handle in hindsight. You can kind of see where the shadows are. That's where the overlap is happening. So there's quite a lot more they could come out by. Actually, there's... Hold on a second. Aha! There was a hidden one that was still stuck. So we got that bad boy. That's perfect. All right. So that's the whole thing extended. Like I said, it took about 42 minutes, it looks like, to print with the little guy there. And then, now, in hindsight, the additional brim on all these little handle pieces are a bit more annoying to touch than I thought, even after being removed. You really have to get in there with a deburring tool, which isn't the end of the world. You can definitely do it, but it leaves like a little bit of a lip on each of these segments. And so you do have to deal with that. So you can do sandpaper, you can do a file, you can use a deburring tool. There's a lot of ways you can kind of get around it. It's not a huge deal. But it does require a little bit of extra cleanup to deal with that. But yeah, so these little hey, chill. A lot of these pieces are ready to go. The threads we talked about with the additional tolerances make assembly a breeze. Just a little bit of a sharp edge to deal with. That's easily remedied. I'll do that a bit later. And then this little, you can see my cat in the 3D print cam again. Multi-angle. This is mostly just for aesthetic purposes. But yeah, that cap just threads on the end there. That's the whole handle. That's 60 millimeters. And then this whole thing threads right onto here. Don't mind me as I do it off camera, sorry. That threads onto there, and boom, you got your all-in-one piece collapsible baton. Like I said, I mean, that's pretty good for 42 minutes. Printing something this size conventionally, just in one print, would basically be impossible because it would probably knock itself over more often than not without support or some sort of sacrificial support to hold it up. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. That's the guy. In two different colors, but it's the same exact thing. These are just fun little toys. They're not super thick. The walls are like 0.6 millimeters, so they're not gonna damage you. You could print these solid, or even I thought about you could technically weight these as well if you had some sort of shot in here, a lead shot or something like that. You could definitely weight these or fill them up to be heavier, but they're toys. They are just toys at the end of the day. But yeah, that's my 3D print there. But this is just a custom thing I made. I mean, this is kind of reminds you of like the old school lightsabers before they got a lot more fancy. I do remember the one I had specifically had that little shaft above the handle where everything telescoped into. And later on, I think they made it all to where it could inset into the handle. But the first iterations were just into that first section, which it's, probably just... design innovation as it goes, basically. But yeah, that's it. That's the 3D print. That's the last one. Power On, you said you had to go. I do appreciate you hanging on for so long. And Yule, I think you took off a bit earlier too, but I do appreciate you as well if you come back here and watch the postscript. But yeah, thanks for joining me. This was a test stream. I just wanted to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and try it out. I might try doing a stream on Twitch as well. I did make an account just to see how it goes, but I just wanted to try out the platform, and the test sort of got away from me. But I got my tea, I got all my settings dialed in. I'm glad the lag dialed back down a little bit as well. So that was cool. But yeah, thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate you watching. Any of the VOD watchers, if there are any, I do appreciate you as well for watching this incredibly long video. Oh, Yule, I still see you here. Thank you very much. I'm glad for all you guys to be here and to hang out with me while I was kind of testing this and going through it. So thank you very much for joining the stream. I do probably plan on doing another one of these again, possibly on the weekend, next weekend maybe, maybe even tomorrow. I'm just sort of dialing everything in, so I don't have a set schedule yet. I'm just trying to get it figured out, and then I figured I would try to come up with some more fun things to watch as we're talking. So, was fun. Talk to you later. I have Twitch also. Okay, well, cool. Yeah, maybe see you guys on Twitch. I'll possibly try that platform out as well. I don't know the huge difference between the two, so, you know, it's mostly just to try it. But yeah, thank you again so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.